everybody. My name is Thomas Harkin, and welcome to the FFC show. Today, I'm joined by Macauley Lowe, who is a current Muay Thai fighter and is a coach at Olympus Martial Arts. I'm going to hand it over to Macauley to give himself a bit of an introduction. Macauley, would you like to tell everybody about yourself, please, brother?
Yeah, welcome to the show. Obviously, as Tom just stated, I'm a Muay Thai fighter and now coach at Olympus MMA, where we'll hopefully have Muay Thai team as well as doing then the K1 for the MMA guys. A little bit about myself. Obviously, I fought all over. I fought in Bangkok. I fought in Phuket. I've done a lot of K1 in the UK, but I haven't had the opportunity to fight A class here in the UK yet. So moving forward, I think that's coming up. And you've got some exciting news to be shared about the Muay Thai, I think, later on.
We do. That's the route that we're going down. So yeah, so with that, Macauley, so you said obviously K1, you fought loads of K1. Firstly, the first thing I want to touch on is fighting in Bangkok. What was that experience like?
Crazy. What an experience. I'm not going to lie, like living in Phuket is better. There's too many distractions, and Bangkok's a little bit dirty and it's a little bit what you see on the TV is the Bangkok, right? But Phuket is the fitness capital. You know, it's everything is perfect. When I lived there, it was every day was perfect routine, perfect fight camp. You know, you can have that in Bangkok. It's just a little more difficult. Things are a bit further to travel, but fighting out there was insane. The lights, the atmosphere, it's just a crazy place, man.
It's not you've not just fought out there obviously to fight, you've also gone out to represent Team Wales as well, haven't you, in the Muay Thai scene?
So beginning of this year we went out to fight in the WBC tournament. Obviously won my first fight and then I lost my second fight. Tournament fighting is not for the weak. The first fight was a tough fight, but I got the win and then I was quite injured. Not to make excuses, my opponent had a bye in the first round, but we won't go there. You know what I mean? It is what it is. I lost fair and square the second fight. So, but hopefully go back again this year. I think it's in May and I think it's in Venice. So that'll be interesting.
Yeah. And you know, obviously one of the things that you just said is tournament fighting is not for the weak. And you know, and especially being Muay Thai. Muay Thai is not, you know, no offense to any tournament fighting, but you know, it's not really something that you can fight 3 times in one day, is it? You know, it's
tough. Oh, it's tough. But yeah, really good. And do you know what? It was good to go out as Team Wales, and we actually did really well. Another guy from my weight category ended up winning our weight category, so we came home with gold.
Yeah.
And also we took some other medals home as well.
Yeah, that is it's good, and especially being, you know, the country that we are, we're such a small country, and we're going out and demonstrating that, you know, we are up there with the, you know, with the elites, which is great. Like so
this is only going to help as we get more and more Muay Thai. It's going to help, and I know you've got some big things coming. Obviously, I've seen the message, so we'll talk about that when it's time. But exciting things are coming, man.
They are, and that's one of the things that we want to do is like with Flow Fight Club, and obviously Rhondda Rampage being what it is, being our third one coming into February. Like we would just want to keep building and giving, you know, grassroots fighters or even fighters who've had, you know, 10 to hundreds to 200 odd fights or whatever. It's just giving that platform to keep building Muay Thai within Wales, to keep building combat sports within Wales, and especially where we are in the Rhondda, there's not a lot. There's gyms, but there's no, you know,
in Wales, there's not a lot of opportunity to fight Muay Thai.
Yeah, of course.
And you know, if you ask me, Muay Thai is elbows, knees, sweeps, clinch, the full shebang.
Yeah,
no padding. I mean, the closest you'll get is B class. But there's not really that ability to go further. There's, apart from at the moment, standout war, and you know, Giffy's working alongside the WBC. Other than that, there's not much going on. So you know, there's a big market there, and I think the more shows, the better. The more opportunity, the better. And obviously, I don't know if you want to mention.
We're gonna keep that. We're gonna keep that one for towards the end. There's a good couple of things that, you know, with the show that we won that we want to bring in with Muay Thai, especially like one of the things that, as you said, you've got stand up, or you've also got a adrenaline, which they don't offer Muay Thai currently. But
Nah, it's
like you said,
K1 for
it's
me.
yeah, it's just stand up war. So it's not that we want to compete. It's just we want to kind of help them, just give another platform and bring in the N class fighters going all the way up to the pros. It's just getting that
Absolutely.
opportunity. You know,
Absolutely.
and
There's fighters here in Wales that are traveling to Birmingham, they're traveling to Bristol, they're traveling all over the country to fight Muay Thai because just not enough opportunity on their doorstep.
yeah, exactly.
And likewise, as it grows, there's a lot of people the other side of the bridge and north to us that are doing Muay Thai, but don't feel a requirement to come to Wales.
Yeah,
You're not going to come to Wales to do an interclub when you've got boys fighting on elite shows.
of
You
course.
just go into. But if you've got maybe some amateurs that want a low level fight and we can offer that, then they are going to come to Wales. It's not just going to promote Muay Thai, but it'll promote Wales because we're a little bit isolated to what the rest of the UK are doing and almost a little bit left out apart from stand up war right now. So it's going to be a part of something that can add that value. It's going to give more reason for people to come to Wales.
Yeah,
It's going to give more reason for people in Wales to fight Muay Thai. I
yeah,
feel like a lot of people want to fight Muay Thai but are forced to fight K1.
yeah, and that is one of those sorry, that is one of those things that we do see happen quite a lot, especially when you have guys who are training at a strictly Thai gym and the only offers they get are K1 offers, or it'll be a Muay Thai offer but not at the class that they fight at, or not at the
Absolutely.
experience level, but
Absolutely. I mean,
so
if you look at, you've got Mac Muay Thai in
mhm,
Cardiff, really good gym, really good fighters. We don't get to see much of them. We don't get to collaborate with them,
yeah,
which is not good for us as fighters. We should be able to collaborate with these other Muay Thai gyms and train and get to know each other. But we don't see them because they're off on CFS or on other shows across the country because nothing's being offered in Wales apart from, up until recently, you only had Giffy.
yeah, yeah. Now that is one of the things that obviously with Rhondda Rampage 3, we done 1 and 2 last year, which we focused on K1 and boxing in the first, and then we slowly started to introduce into the second. Now going into the third and into this year, we've actually teamed up with the WMO, and we're actually bringing them on board. So we're going to be working alongside an organization that is going to bring in the best referees that we can have, the best judging team that we can have, and again, it's another reason why you want to come down. It's another reason why you want to make that trip. And there's some other things that we're working on in the background that I can't really touch on yet, but it wouldn't just be FFC titles. Just put it
Yeah,
put it that way.
this is the other thing I wanted to mention on. Like, obviously, I'm glad you mentioned the WMO now, so we can talk about it now. Um, but obviously, that's going to bring a level of um, officialness. It's going to bring a certain level of. So I got nothing against like AMI shows
Yeah,
and the titles, but for somebody who wants to go far, currently, I mean, it's nice. Giffy's just obviously started the WBC stuff, and now you're going to look at WMO stuff. All of a sudden, it seems like overnight we've got the ability now here in Wales. There's no longer a requirement to travel halfway across the country to fight in the hope you might have opportunity.
yeah,
Now it's here. It's on the doorstep. You've got
yeah.
that opportunity. The WMO, a legitimate organization, yeah, is going to be amazing.
And I'll be honest with you, bro, like the thing with it was, I'll be honest, like we owe a lot of homage to James Wallace, like when we said this from the first one. And Wally again, he's helping he always helps, especially with matchmaking, giving boys from KGB to fight. He's always there. And that was one of the things he said to us. He was, you wanna be taken seriously, so you want to be coming out with as it is, you want to be coming out with the proper shit, and we want to be coming out with the
Absolutely.
proper, the proper ref and the proper judges, and then not just that, like you just said, is knowing the people, for example, come down from like K-Star, or in Birmingham or whatever like that, to make that journey because they know that it's a recognized show. Then it's not, as
It's
you
not
said,
one-sided anymore. It's
yeah,
not us. It's not us in Wales begging to be a part of the UK scene. we now have our own place in the UK scene.
Yeah.
And obviously, going back to Wally, Wally's got the same thing, but it's K1. So he's got the IKF involved with his, which are a legitimate organization. I've wanted that IKF belt for a while. I was meant to have it, but some injuries happened. I moved gyms. It's been a bit shit. But 2025, I'm coming. And I'm coming for everything I wanted. And I'm having it.
That's good. I like that. That's the attitude we want, Mark. There, that's awesome right there. So, with obviously, just to touch on FFC2. So we brought you in for commentary on FFC2. Now, one of the main reasons we brought you in for commentary was because we introduced Muay Thai. So we wanted to have somebody that has got the understanding and the experience to talk about it. Obviously you had Ashley Sweet Poison Johnson from WPT, who's a pro boxer. You had her along with you. And then also you had Jody Lewis, who is the FFC current 60-kilo champion. So you had, I'm not going to say it was all based around you for the Muay Thai, but obviously you got Ashley with the K1 experience and mainly the boxing, and then Jody coming in as a guest commentary. And then, as I said, the push for you to bring you in for the Muay Thai aspect. What was it like commentating and not being involved as on the show?
It was a different experience for me to not be backstage warming people up or talking fight IQ, talking tactics, but rather just to sit and watch and enjoy. Obviously, one of the best seats in the house, with an exception to the ref, of course. But yeah, just I can't believe how well everything ran so smoothly. Only being your second show, I was expecting, not going to lie, a little bit of a stress and a bit of a faff about, but it was perfect. Everything ran smoothly. All the matches were 50-50. I wouldn't want to be a judge on your show, I'm not going to lie. It's a really tough one to call, but that made for really interesting commentary. It gave us plenty to talk about.
Yeah. And that's one of the things I like obviously you touched on running so smoothly that like I take my hat off to the staff. Like we have, we bring in the boys who are not fighting. And then one of the things that people don't see is if you're working the show, even though, you're running around, you're working, like your teammates are fighting as well. So when it comes to running to grab one of your pals, like you kind of get, I noticed it in like the first one, the boys will get right into it, because obviously it's one of our boys fighting now. So it's not just, running around like a headless chicken. Everyone that we brought into work, they wanted to make it as smooth as possible because of the fact that they knew that it was going to be the better it runs, the better it looks for all of the fighters and the better it is for the fighters, and that's the number one priority for us is the fighters. Like,
you've got passionate people around you who care about the sport and the event and who want it to run well, and it is well. So it works really well.
And that's the thing. Like, one of the other ones, obviously, you said about the matchups is Liam. Like, Liam, obviously met Liam a couple of times now, and Liam done matching for the Inter Club as well. Like, we do it together, but I will be honest, he takes most of the matching. I'll be straight, and he does come up with some fifth, like the fights that we've got lined up for FFC3. Some of the ones that we're releasing now are not even the tip of the iceberg yet. We've got some that we're holding back. We've got 2 title fights that we're holding back. We've got there's so much more that we're waiting to bring through. And again, like I said, it's 50-50 fights. They bring the best out in both fighters because they both know that they got something to prove as well. And
absolutely, both know that it's not going to be a walk in the park, and they have to work for it.
Exactly. And
obviously, at Flow Fight Night 2, we had the first girls bout for Flow. There was no girls fighting on Flow 1. Is that correct?
That's very true. They were the first 2 girls. The first 2 girls to fight on FFC were Yasmin and Sky. Yasmin fighting from SN Academy, and then obviously you've got Sky from Pro K. Now, from myself, obviously, just before I hear what you have to say about it, I think that was probably one of the fight of the night by far. But then 2, just to see the sheer height difference between Yasmin and Sky, and the way that Sky would break the distance, land her shots, and then it go the other way, and then Yasmin would keep it at distance to land her shots. It was, considering that between the 2 of them, I think they've only had 4 fights, I think, at that time. And
yeah, it was such a 50-50 bout. I mean, I watched it back before we jumped on the call, and had Sky been able to cut Yasmin off, she would have smothered her. But Yasmin was very good at retaking center ring and then figuring that distance out. And Yasmin just wasn't quite able to keep her cut off on the ropes sometimes. But Yasmin did a brilliant job. Very Muay Thai style, which is a style I like.
Yeah, and one of the things that I noticed as well with Yasmin, like I crossed her on the stairs when she was coming up for a walkout. She was so calm. Like
Yeah,
you know when obviously it's great. Like I said, they've had one or two fights, each, and just the she's from when I say enemy territory, sorry, like both of them were away fighters, so to say, but
yeah.
they had that mentality of they're coming in to fight, and that's what they're coming in to do. They don't care about anything else that's going on. I don't care about the crowd.
Do you know what I find sometimes the girls and me and Ash spoke about this, and me, Ash, and Joey all spoke about this. The girls come to fight, bro. Like
Yeah.
sometimes guys, honestly, sometimes guys can pussyfoot around and they try to hit and don't be hit,
Yeah.
which is fair enough. That's kind of what the sport's about. But the girls, they just show up to fight. They
Yeah.
show up to bang, and
And
it's so entertaining.
I remember I think it was you and Ashley were talking on the outro, and Ashley said she was like, by far the girls turned up for me today, and again, I stand by that. I massively stand by that. That was such a good fight, and I'll be honest, I think Yasmin's gone on to win a title now. I think she's won a title on a different show. And then Sky, she was I think I seen her at in the club in the Way gym, and again she just looked, improvements again, and they both I think they were 16 and 17 or 17 and 18, I think. So
Yeah, but Sky is quite like a Muay mat fighter. She's very aggressive, very in your face, take away your distance, body shot, leg kick, that sort of stuff. And she done really well at it. But Yasmin is like Muay Cow. So you had that clash of styles
yeah.
where Yasmin was so Sky was trying to close the distance and land her body shots and her leg kicks and do damage that way. But Yasmin's a Muay Cow. So ultimately, you're walking into danger, and then Yasmin's landing all the knees, which score more than the punches. And I think that probably squeezed her that win.
Yeah, I'd say because she was very active. That was one of the things that you'd have to say with Yasmin. She was very active in any clinch or any disengagement of the clinch. She was either the first one attacking straight back in, or if she wasn't attacking, she'd wait, counter, and then attack again. It was again, like we said, it was a great display of styles for two. I'm not going to say novice fighters because that's not the right word, but two very lightly experienced fighters come in and to take the show. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah, they're young. They're young with a lot of
yeah,
future ahead of them.
and that's one of the things. Again, like it goes back to that conversation that we had about bringing people like with these grassroots level. I say grassroots level, but it's not so much grassroots. Like around their debuts, bringing them and giving them that stage. And obviously you had Cornelius fight on the card. He headlined. He's just behind me there. He fought on the card and he put on a clinical performance. He stopped the boy in just in 2 rounds, and then you've got these experienced guys, and then you've got the younger girls taking the card, like taking the fight of the night on us. So again, big props there to them, and I can't wait to see them. Again, like that's one of the things that we want to do is we want to bring them both back, and we especially now working with the WMO, and we want to give recognition to these fighters. So as we were saying, there's a couple of other things that we got working with the WMO that we're gonna, slowly drip release into Christmas. But it's definitely something to watch this space on, and yeah, it's something that we can't really wait to look forward to bring everybody. Now, obviously, one of the things I want to touch on, Mac, is your experience and obviously where you've come from. So we said about fighting in Bangkok and fighting out in Thailand, and we said about going back out with the WBC. Now, one of the things I want to ask you is what brought you into combat? What brought, because obviously you've got a massive fight IQ. Like I know you on a personal level. We had you up for the Inter Club a couple of weeks ago. So, and what brought you in? What made you come in?
Appreciate the kind words, but it's a funny story actually, and it goes all the way back to my childhood. So I actually started under Paul Wheel. So those that have been around the scene in Wales for a long time will know Paul Wheel. He was my original instructor. I actually got kicked out of school, bro. I got kicked out of school for fighting. They sent me to anger management, which just happened to be above the old WPT when Paul was running it.
Yeah.
So I joined WPT when I was maybe 14 or 15. Prior to that, I'd done a bit of karate, a bit of boxing, but never competed. Obviously got kicked out of school for fighting, got sent to that anger management, met Paul Wheel, done a bit of Muay Thai, thought, wow, this is awesome. Obviously, like the clinch and all that stuff, it really fascinates me. And it fascinates me how you can find leverage points and utilize that. Like I could sweep people twice my size. Like that fascinated me. So I really got into it, and then I never looked back. So I done from the minute I got sent to that anger management, I done Muay Thai with Paul Wheel, basically since that day onwards. And then when I was 17, I joined the army. So I moved away. And I worked in the gym on camp. So obviously people know me as an instructor. They know how I teach. I'm very military-based style. But it's where I come from. Those are my grassroots, so to speak. So yeah, then obviously COVID happened. I left the army and moved home. And I thought, well, go back to where I came from. So I went back to WPT. And then obviously started fighting and realized this is where I belong in the world. This is my place. And now I'm just working towards making this my full-time job.
Yeah. That's it's always good when you hear the story on how it starts with people, you know, like I said, I've met you a couple of times, I've seen you a couple of times, I've watched you fight as well, and you know, it is always good to hear the story, and especially as you said, to get thrown out of school and push yourself into something where you know you're a role model for, especially in Olympus, you're a role model for that team. Like you've got
Absolutely, yeah.
there's young kids there who are all, you know, looking up to, you know, you, especially for Muay Thai, and they're looking up to you as this positive role model. So it's mental how it goes complete full circle.
It has, yeah.
You know?
It's got full circle. I now feel like I'm in a position where what Paul did for me, I can now do for other people. And that's a big part of giving me like job satisfaction in my life. And this is what I want to do now for the rest of my life. And that, you know, I appreciate you and helping me make further steps towards that by involving me in all the flow and the FFC stuff. And the WMO, man, I can't believe it. It's going to be amazing. Like we've literally gone from 0 to 100 in the space of 12 months. You know, Stand-Up War never had the WBC until their last show, right? So we've had nothing, and then all of a sudden, now you can go up Ebu Vale and potentially fight for a WBC belt. You can come to the Rhondda, and pretty soon there's going to be WMO belts, which they're official, you know. And then you've got Wally. If people want to do the K1, you've got IKF. We now have the ability in Wales, without traveling ridiculous distances, you can have an IKF, a WMO, and a WBC without leaving your country.
I know, and it's awesome, isn't it?
Mate, you know, 2025 is primed for opportunity, absolutely primed.
And that's what it is, you know, like with again, as I referred back to, it was the conversation with Wally. Wally was like, you know, again, another influence on it. It was like, you've got to do it right, man. If you're gonna do it, you've got to do it fucking right. You can't, you know, you can't just. And that's the thing with Wally. There's no there's no in between, is it? Do you know what I mean? He doesn't.
He'll tell you how it is.
Yeah.
And if you don't like it, don't ask him for advice.
Exactly. And yeah, so when he told us that, and he said the same thing, it was like, fucking fair play to you, you know, for doing it. So, but I said to him, I was like, it's that influence of just making sure that it's right, and it's the best thing that we can offer every fighter, because one of the things that, you know, I took from the conversations that me and you had in the last one is, I want to get people on there, man. I want to get people fucking, you know, no pads, no, you know, I want to see that. I want to see a main event of fucking, you know,
A-class.
Yeah, I want to see.
For me, Muay Thai is A-class.
Yeah.
You go to Thailand, you've got kids fighting with no shin pads, they're throwing elbows, they're sweeping, dumping, it's violent.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you get people there, you know, they say they're Muay Thai fighters, but they don't clinch, or they've never thrown an elbow. So, I mean, it'd be nice now to give that opportunity for people to feel comfortable to have a go. And then if they want to progress to B class, they can. You know, you've got them elbow pads on, that little bit of extra safety in case you're not quite confident in your defense abilities. But then also you'll be able to have them A class fights, which is proper Muay Thai. Muay Thai here in Wales.
That's what it is. Now, one of the things I want to touch on is, as we said about with the classes that we just looked at there. Now, it took me a while to understand some of them, I'll be honest with you. You know, there's little changes for little classes, for little things. Now, you know, as we said, we encourage everybody, you know, as you just stood out, you just mentioned yourself, like you encourage from the N class going all the way up to the eight. Now, just give a bit of an insight, Mark, from your perspective, and what the difference is between, let's say, for example, the start at N class and work our way up. Like, what are the differences for everybody else listening at home? Just because, you know, as I said, I'm a you know, I'm a promoter, and it took me fucking 10 minutes to to get my head around it. So, if you want to explain to everybody what the differences are.
Yeah, so I mean, for me, I've only ever actually fought A class Thai. All my other fights have been K1. But essentially, unless you're fighting B or A class, you are fighting K1 with clinch, really. So your N class has got shin pads, and the rule sets. Obviously, I think the timing increases as you go along. So I
Yeah.
believe N class may be 1.5 minute rounds.
Yeah, 1.5 minute rounds. One of the things that we did do in FFC was we did push it to 2 minutes in the first one. Sorry, in the second one. Um,
So
just
I mean, every show does it different. I've seen shows, and again, it's different in the UK,
yeah,
and then it's different in Germany. It's different in Spain. So I've gained this knowledge through fighting other. You know, I fought people from all over the world, and I fought a Spanish guy in January of this year, and I spoke to him about it, and he was saying like he's never fought without headgear. He's never like
mm,
in Spain, they have to fight with headgear unless they're professional. So the rules they differ everywhere. Now I've seen shows doing 3 minute rounds,
yeah,
sorry, 2 minute rounds, but 3 rounds
yeah,
and things like this. For me, if it's Muay Thai, it's 5 rounds.
mm,
Muay Thai fights are 5 rounds, title or not. It's a 5 round fight. N class, you've got the lower round times with a bit more rest. In terms of rules, you've obviously got the padding on, you've got your shin pads on, but you're not allowed to elbow,
mm,
and obviously you clinch. So essentially, it's K1 with clinch. Right now, you go to C class, you've got no shin pads, or you should have no shin pads, but I have seen shows promote C class fights where they're wearing shin pads backwards. Anyway, you should take your shin pads off when you go to C class. Again, it should still be 5 rounds. Where are these 3 round fights coming from is beyond me. They need to be five. 5 rounds it should be, and then obviously you've got no shin pads, and the same thing with the clinch, no elbows. B class, again, should be 5 rounds. You've got no shin pads, but we add elbow pads then at B class. So now
yeah,
you've gone from C class, where you've got no shin pads, essentially similar to like Pro K1 rules. And then you go to B class, you start throwing elbows now. Now you fight in Muay Thai. Now you're elbowing, clinching, sweeping, dumping, the full shebang. B class is what I would consider amateur Muay Thai.
okay,
Everything else is just like a variation of K1.
yeah,
Once you've got them elbow pads on, now you fight in Muay Thai, right? And then you can go from AMI to Pro, you can go from B to A, you take them padding off, you go to the 3 minute rounds, and it's hell. It's, I remember my first A class fight, and I sat down on the stool in round three, and all I could think about was, wow, this is the longest fight I've ever had. I don't feel too bad. And then I got up, and about halfway through round four, I was like, holy shit, this is a long fight. This is a long fight.
that's the thing, Owen. You know, like obviously everyone gets used to the like the two minute round kind of counted. Sorry, everyone gets used to the kind of 2 minute round trade, and then as soon as you go up to three, you're like fuck.
It's a
That's
big difference, bro. It's
yeah,
a big difference. But like obviously for me, I think N class and C class are quite similar to K1, but you can have a bit more time in the
yeah,
clinch as
yeah.
well. You can strike more than once, etc.
And
But
that's one of the things with N classes. It's called novice class, isn't it? And it's called novice class for that reason
that
of
reason, yeah. And
yeah,
it makes it easier. I'm not saying it's a bad thing that we have these systems in the
mm,
UK and that the systems differ across the world. I'm not saying that at all. I'm not by any means suggesting that kids in the UK should be elbowing each other, but it's nice to see out there. What I am suggesting though is it makes it easier for K1 fighters to transition into Muay Thai if they want to fight N or C class. If you
yeah,
fought Pro K1, a C class fight is essentially the same thing,
yeah,
but with added clinch. So if you're not confident in your clinch, but you want to work towards that, it's a good place to start. It's
yeah.
nice that we do have that for that reason.
And that's one again, like touching back to what we said earlier, you do get a lot of the transitions between, the K1 guys coming across the Thai. And I will be honest, there's a couple of fights we've got lined up where we have got one that's done that, and then we've got one who was a bit more predominant, not going to say predominantly Thai, but one that's, more favored in the Thai aspect. Now, again, as you said though, it's just getting that experience, isn't it? It's just crossing across and just getting the rounds in as well, is that's one of the things that with these classes that it can offer is that experience of just getting into the ring and just getting into the swing of going, those round times and getting into the swing of going, right, I need to work my pace on this, or I need to work this, or I need to work that, and that's one of the
Yeah,
best
I think
things.
it plays into our culture as well. In the culture we have and the social media culture, people are nervous to lose.
Yeah, yeah,
In Thailand, nobody's bragging on Instagram about they've won a fight. They don't care. They fight every week, and if win, lose, draw, it don't matter.
yeah,
Whereas in this country, if you lose, it can have a really negative impact on your mental health, and it can stop you wanting to get back in. So imagine if your first fight is with elbows and you get butchered. It's going
oh
to
yeah,
really put you off, right?
yeah,
And you see it in Thailand. You do see it. I've when I fought out there the first time back in 2022, I think, or 2023 maybe. I seen it. Teammates that I was with, they'd get in, they'd get butchered, they'd have cuts on their eyebrows. They don't know how to long guard. They can't protect themselves, and they don't come back. You don't see them again. So it's nice that we have that level of protection to an extent,
yeah,
because
because
it will stop people getting badly injured to a point where
yeah.
they come back.
Yeah, and that's the thing as well. Like obviously one of the main points that we've said from the very beginning of this is giving people the opportunity to demonstrate and to fight. Now, one of the things is with that, as you said, you don't want to scare people away, do you? You
No.
don't want to rush people into something that they shouldn't be doing. And I think when you listen to it, obviously the breakdown as you've just explained, it kind of it works that little bit more. Sorry, it works in our favor that a little bit more, as you said, is just not. I'm not going to say to nourish, to massage your ego, but it kind of like works in that way of you're not going to run away if it's a tough fight. Do you know what I mean? You're not going
Yeah,
to.
absolutely. But this is what I mean when I say how excited I am about FFC and about how what Giffy's doing with stand up war, because yes, there are people out there that want to fight Thai, and yes, they should start at N class.
Yeah,
However, until recently, it's been really hard to get to A class.
yeah,
You know, I was like, fuck it, I'm going to Thailand. I want to fight and just and do it instead.
yeah,
But had I not done that, I probably would never have fought A class yet.
yeah,
I'd probably still be waiting for my opportunity. So it's nice now that you've got FFC, which is going to be regularly on. You've got Stand Up War, which is regularly on. So the opportunity to go from N class to A class and to have a fair and 50-50 opponent in that, it's increasing.
yeah,
2 years ago, if I wanted to fight A class, I'd probably have to fight on Giffy's show, and Giffy would probably have to get somebody from outside of Wales to come and fight me.
yeah, yeah,
That's not the case anymore, and it's slowly getting better and better. Giffy's last show, we had 2 A class fights. We had one of my former opponents fight in A class, and as this now starts to come across to FFC as well, it's just that added extra opportunity and that extra organization that's available to you as well.
So, as we're touching on the WMO now, and obviously for anybody watching this, you can see how exciting both me and Mark are getting because of the fact that we've got this, the WMO involved. So, can you just highlight to everybody, coming from, the Muay Thai fighters' perspective, and obviously I know you just touched on it there and given us all the opportunity, but is there anything else that you would feel as a fighter knowing? So, for example, if you had the option to fight on show A, where, it's just a normal a normal officiator, normal ref, or you've got the option to go on FFC where you get told, right, it's a WMO registered referee, you've got WMO judges. What and why would you make the decision?
So I think if you're fighting on a show with all the officials, and I'm not the only one who thinks this, and I can guarantee there are other coaches out there that will agree with me. If you're fighting on a show that have their own team, it can be very difficult to. You don't want to leave it up to the ref. You don't want to leave it up to the judges, sorry, so to speak, right? You go there, it's their show, their friends and colleagues that are running the thing. You need to dominate, right? I feel like and it's the same for the MMA guys when you talk about MMA Cymru. Yeah. Obviously, when they've got MMA Cymru there, it's going to be fair because they work for MMA Cymru. They're nothing to do with the organization. It's the same now for this. So you're going to have all the officials from WMO. They're not going to be your friends. They're not going to be, people that you've worked with or collaborated with in the past. If you had me refereeing, there may be potential where people could argue and say, no, well, Mac's being funny because he's friends with Tom. Yeah. Or, Mac can't ref Cornelius. He's fucking best friends with Cornelius. That can't happen. Do you know what I mean? And even though I know I would be fair and I would be right, it leaves doubt in other people's minds. But that doubt is removed when you say, look, it's nothing to do with me. It's the WMO.
And that part where you just done, nothing to do with me, that's the one thing that we wanted. And the only reason we wanted that, right, was because we wanted to make sure that we don't get the coach from, the old school coach who's got this attitude of, this is how it's supposed to be, it's not supposed to be this way. So that, nothing to do with us. That's all, we've brought in this commission, they're a recognized commission for this reason. Yeah. And that's the main reason for it. Now, and obviously, like we said,
it also mitigates any arguments. There can't be arguments. You see on smaller shows, local shows, you see people fighting outside because they don't like the result. And you do. It's disrespectful and out of order, but you do see it. You won't see it when you can stand up and say, well, it's the WMO. If you really want to argue with the WMO, I'm telling you, you're wrong.
And it's not just that, but it goes back and it filters back into that whole 50-50 thing, doesn't it? Like, you know yourself that they're not going to officiate the fight that somebody's 12-1 against somebody who's 1-12. For a fact that that's not even going to get officiated. So they would just tell you to fuck off from the start. So then it stops that as well.
Yeah, and you also know then as well that those people that are fighting for titles have earned it. No, I won't say that. There was a potential where I was possibly going to get everything I've ever dreamt of. However, because I lost my last fight in the tournament, the organizing body turned around and said, nope, he's coming off a loss. There's no way. And I swallowed the pill. I said, do you know what? That's fair enough. That's right. And if I want that belt around my waist, I'll have to earn it. So 2025, here we go. It's time to get some wins back on the cards. But
that's a great mentality out to have there, Mark. That's
So I'd rather that though, and I think a lot of other people would rather that. Nobody wants to be walking around with a title that you believe is special. Yeah. For everybody else to say, oh well, he was gifted that. Yeah. He only got it because he's friends with the promoter, or he only got that because he's pally with such and such.
Yeah, and we had that as I seen you last week, we had that conversation about, one of those fights that happened to us last week, with we're not gonna go into it too much, but you are right. It does put a sour taste in your mouth. Now, going back to, obviously we talked about you fighting. Now, as we said, one of the things that we've got you on board for is commentary. But there's two options in my head two opponents in my head that I'd like to see you fight.
Come on.
I can't say nothing, not yet, until we get it all certified and shit. I can't really go down there. I'll text you about it.
Yeah, we'll have a chat.
We'll have a chat, we will. But what obviously you said about going into this year and you grabbing this year, by the bollocks, so to say. So what are your plans going forward? What have you got? Obviously, we've got February 8th for FFC, and then obviously, for this one, we bring you back in for commentary and to bring you back in for everything else. But what else are you going to be looking at? So tell us a little bit now about Olympus and what you've brought to Olympus and what you're going to be doing.
Absolutely, thank you. So for me, fight camp's going to start in January. So we're in the middle of moving units. Obviously, I left WPT not on great terms, so I can't go back there to train. So I haven't really had the equipment I need. And now I say equipment I need. All I need is a heavy bag and a treadmill. Right? Yeah. You give me a heavy bag and a treadmill, I'll fight fucking anyone. But because I can do the IQ myself, right? Anybody can revise. It wasn't hard to become a coach. I just contacted the relevant people, asked for the revision, did the revision, passed the exam. I'm a coach. right? Anybody can learn to fight, but you have to be able to train properly. Now, I haven't been able to train properly because the unit we're in now is and was set up for BJJ.
Okay.
So it's just an open unit with mats. Now we've made do. I've bought pads. Zach has bought pads. Like we've made it work between us, and we'd be doing pad and drills and whatever else. But you can't get fight ready just padding and drilling, right? You need to be having bag and pad, hit, Tabata, EMOM, these sorts of things that I just haven't had the equipment to do. And I'm not going to fight if I'm not ready to fight. I mean, why would you do that? Do you know what I mean?
Of course.
You're gonna get in there with the record, and your opponent's gonna have a similar record. He's going to expect you to be at a certain level, and then you're not going to give him a good fight. I don't want to do that to somebody. I don't want to put somebody who's gone through a camp and then give them a shit fight. I want to be the best me.
Yeah.
So January, we're moving into the new unit. We'll have the BJJ set up downstairs with pads, bags, and the BJJ matting. And then upstairs, we're going to have strength and conditioning units, like a full CrossFit gym, alongside a couple of bags up there as well, so that we can train up there. And then the cage will be upstairs. So we'll have an up and a down and everything we need to run a perfect fight camp, including we're also having sauna, ice bath, coffee shop, yoga, everything that you need to do a camp. And a lot of people travel for these sorts of things. You know, they'll train at one place and they'll recover at another place.
Yeah.
They pay multiple memberships, and it can be difficult to get to that highest level when you've got to fork out all that money to do it, especially if you're not making money in the sport yet. So you've got to run a day job alongside it. It's difficult. So it's going to make it easier for people to transition if they want to transition to full time. It'll be easier for them at our gym because we have everything you need.
That, and giving everybody the option and giving everybody the equipment and giving everybody the, as you said, giving matching everybody need, matching everybody's needs with what you've got is, it just makes that transition a little bit easier, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
You haven't got to worry about, crossing, like you said, you haven't got to be worried about like, fuck, I'm gonna finish training now. I got 45 minutes until I hit until the ice bath, or I got 45 minutes until I get to do this. It's the same as weight cutting. If you're there
Yeah,
and you've got to cut weight, you've got all of that at your fingertips, and it's good.
people are forced to either buy ice baths and have them at their home, which can be, space consuming and cause family disagreements or whatever else. We've got it all in one unit. And how I was training in Thailand is how I will be able to train at Olympus. And that I'm very excited for. In terms of getting back in, I believe, I don't know if I should say, I won't say where, just in case it doesn't happen or in case something goes wrong, but I should be fighting in April on the other big show. It's pretty obvious, isn't it? But after that, and once I'm back in camp, obviously it's going to take me a little while. Between January and April is my time to get myself ready and also get some of my guys ready. The one thing that stuck with me when I did make that big change was I was told, you can be a fighter or a coach. You can't do both. And that stuck with me. That hurt. And that's one of the reasons I'd never go back. So I'm excited to prove that I can be a fighter and a coach, and just wait and see.
Yeah, that's one of those ones, isn't it? That you either do one or you either do the other, and you can see within your reaction there that you've got something to prove, which is.
And I've got people around me that are doing it as well. Like, to say it's not possible is just bullshit. It's a shit excuse. It is possible. Cornelius does it. Fucking loads of people do it. You got people fighting the UFC that are teaching in Wales. So don't tell me you can't be a fighter or a coach. Of course you can.
No, of course, man. And it's good that you've got your mindset on what you want to do, and that's one of the things. One of the things, obviously, a couple of people and will see is that you're dedicating the time to yourself, which is that transition, like you said, that transition from what you were going into what you want to be is such it's inspirational for the fight team that you're coaching as well, because it shows that you're leading from the front.
Yeah, thank you.
And you get a lot of people who they need that. especially
Yeah,
within this sport. They need somebody at the front to absorb off, because we all know this is a lonely old place in that ring or in that cage, or it is.
yeah,
And if you put in the prep prior, then you don't feel as daunting. It's not as daunting. And
absolutely.
as you said, having somebody there that you can, lead him from the front, man, and it's such a positive impact for everybody around you. And dude, as well, like I said, I'm fucking excited for your journey. I watched you fight before. I can't fucking wait to watch you fight again. You
Thank
know,
you, I appreciate it. I
and
can't wait. I mean, yeah, I know what I need, and I know how I'm going to make it happen. I need to be on a 3-fight win streak, and I'm going to have everything I want, bro. I don't, when I say I want something, I make it happen. I remember actually, yeah, when I was in Paul Wheel's gym, and if anybody listening is old school from the olden days, you'll remember the gym. And you go in, it was an old pub. You go in and there's a bar on the left and then a set of double doors, and you go into the old gym. I remember being stood by the bar, and I remember Paul was there, Shannon Wheel was there, my mum was there, and a guy called Mikey that used to train was there. And I'd just been accepted into the army, and I told my mum I was going to buy a house, I was going to get tattoos, I was going to get a car, and do this, and that. And my mum looked at me and she went, "Mac, you've got a job, you haven't won the lottery." And I was like, "All right, yeah, no sweat." By the time I was 19, I was a landlord, and I'd finished my sleeve, and I was driving Audi. So don't tell me I can't do something, because I'll fucking do it. So
yeah,
stay tuned for 2025, because I got some big plans, brother, and it's all going to kick off in April. And once I've hit that reset button in April, I ain't going to stop. If there's a show in May, I'll fight. If there's a show in June, I'll fight. July, I'll fight. I'll be there, and my boys will be there. And when I'm not fighting, I'm excited just as much to be involved with the FFC and involved with everything that you're doing. It's going to be outstanding.
one of the big things with that was you were just saying about how you're going to do it, and sorry, every other sentence was how your team are going to be there as well. And as I said, it's good to have that, especially because you're building this from the ground up now, pretty much, aren't you? With the Olympus, with the Muay
Yeah,
Thai.
so I mean, the MMA guys, some of them have experience and they're pretty much there already. But in terms of just for those who know Olympus, it's pretty safe for me to say this because everybody knows, right? Zach is jiu-jitsu. They're very heavy grappling at the moment. And if you were at Mason's show, what's it called, Dragon? If you were at Dragon the other week, you'll have seen our guys fight, and
Yeah.
they were constantly taken to the ground, and they were dominant in doing that. They were getting the takedowns. They were dominating the wrestling. Um, some unfortunate lessons from guard and from getting subbed on the bottom, but also they could have done just as well in their stand-up game, but they haven't had anybody to talk them through how that works. Now, in terms of MMA, I'm not an MMA fighter, and I won't pretend to be an MMA coach. I'm not. But as I start to learn and understand the dynamic of MMA, I will be able to deliver better striking advice. I can't stand there and say fake teep leg kick, because that teep may result in them being taken down.
Yeah, or tripped.
I don't know. It's going to take me time to learn these things, but I am a nerd in this sport and I'm taking notes already. I've already been to a few jiu-jitsu lessons. I've got another notebook, and I will become a great striking coach for these boys that want to do MMA as well.
And do that's what it's about as well, is like showing your passion. Like that's one of the things I done when I was training out in China. Like I was training in a Gracie gym out there, and I just had this literally this I was A5 notebook. Every single session I'd write down everything we done, and it wouldn't be in like the way the coach explained it, it'd be in a way that I would be able to understand it as well. So it'd be like I'd write out things that when it come back to me explaining it to somebody else or me explaining it to myself in the mirror or whatever, you can just you can relate back to it really well. And I always found that writing things down was such a big impact on learning. I don't know why, but I always found that it always used to help me. I encourage
Massively, massively.
everybody to do it. I encourage everyone to
But
write it down.
when I was in the army, I obviously trained all over. I've never really stopped doing Muay Thai. I guess until recently, I was a bit of a sandbag. You could argue. But I've trained all over. And I remember I trained at Bad Company for a short time. And Richard Smith actually made me start my first notebook. Um, and after Richard had talked me through that, he showed me his. And like his notebook, bro, it goes back to like the fucking 60s and 70s. Like there's notes in there from time. And I was like, shit, man. Like and he told me, like, you can learn a technique perfectly, and then you'll learn a new technique perfectly. You may forget the first technique.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody's got their favorite technique or their technique of the week, right? But 4 or 5 weeks goes past, you've forgotten week one. I'm big on notebooks, but I've got a notebook for everything. It was a bit of a joke at WPT how much I was with my notebooks, but it's beneficial, bro.
It works, man. Like I get it. I really do. Like, especially what you just said with the technique of the week thing. That's fucking dead on, because you can go through something for 6 weeks, yeah, and it all could variate off one. It could just variate off an inside leg kick. But then
Literally.
the shit that you've done for those last 6 weeks, you're not throwing that inside leg kick anymore. You're missing that first step, or you're doing something else. Or you're going through this. Yeah, I get you, man. On
I've got
the
so many
notebooks.
notebooks, bro. Genuinely, I've got like a mind map in my head. And like you could say just anything like body kick. Well, I could tell you already there's 4 defenses for that, and I could tell you 4 counters for each one of those defenses. Do you know what I mean? So there's like, as you start to write them all out, you memorize them, and they become like a little mind map in your brain.
Yeah.
You know, a kick comes, I know I can block, I can catch, I can evade. What am I going to do? Boom, I've caught it. Right. I've caught it. Now I know if we're in K1, strike release. If we're in Thai, I know what options I have because I've wrote them down so much. I can like visualize the writing while it's all happening real fast.
And that's one of the things that I found with writing stuff down, was because you repeat this so much, in the fact that you're writing it down. You read it when you're writing it down, then you also you envision it when you're writing it down, and then even like I said, man, there's sometimes where I'll just talk myself through the technique.
Absolutely.
I remember my first fight in MMA, and me and my old coach, I think we drilled triangle and armbar. I think we done about 500 fucking times, like 3 days before the fight, and I would talk myself through every transition. Like,
Bro, I actually brought this up in one of my lessons the other day because the Christmas period was coming. And there was an experiment done with basketball players, right? And 3 groups, one group would practice a 3-point shot every day. Okay, the second group would visualize that 3-point shot every day. And then the third group just forgot about basketball, right? And then 12 weeks later, they got these people together to see how much they'd improved. The guys that actually practiced the shot had improved, let's argue, 51%, right?
Yeah.
The guys who visualized the shot but didn't touch a fucking basketball, they'd also improved like 49%. There was only a small difference between the guys doing it and the guys visualizing it. The guys that just forgot about basketball hadn't improved, obviously, right? So this is what I say to people. You will be so surprised how much you will improve through visualization and by writing notes. Like, I'll always ask questions in class. At the end of class, I'll just pick a random person and I'm like, listen, I throw a teep, what do you do? How do you react? And I'll try and draw answers out of them so that they can start to build their own mind maps and have answers themselves,
And that's really good there, because the fact that you're doing that is you're making people react to your question as well. So it's not giving you 10 minutes to go, actually, this is what I'll do, is quick fire. So then, as you said, you're getting used to responding really quick as well. So
yeah, because in a fight, it's quick fire, bro. Maybe you take the first one. By the time he throws that second one, you better have thought of an answer.
yeah.
Also teach that to my boys on the flip side of it, and that if you throw something and they don't defend it, fucking keep throwing it.
Do
right?
that.
Just keep doing that until they defend it, and then
Yeah.
we'll talk about IQ around the defenses and things like this.
But dude, like I said, I'm on the same boat with writing stuff down, bro. I always have been, like, again, like when I was in China, I had my own, I'm not gonna say journal, because it wasn't like a diary, but like I would write everything else down as well through the day. Like, I found it helped so much, especially when you're in a fucking, you're out at, like, nobody's, everyone spoke English I was with, like, but you're in a very uncomfortable environment. So I always found that if I was write down like the things I found uncomfortable, then I'd be able to look at it, and then I'd be able to overcome you know, so
Yeah.
like you'd work out ways to get through it. And then I found that then worked for everything. That's why I started doing it, you know, socially. Like if there was shit that was going on in work or whatever, I'd be like, right, actually, let's kind of like put everything down and think how I can work through it, you know, and that's why
Absolutely.
I found it the same way. Now,
Yeah, people, you know, it's good to do it with not just IQ, but also your emotions, because
yeah,
if your emotions creep up on you, it fucking creeps up on you, right? It can get you, and then you can react on that emotion unwillingly. However, do it once, mistake, okay? But then you write it down. Once you've wrote it down, the second time you're faced with that emotion, you remember what you wrote. You remember how it happened last time. You now have an advantage. Whereas if you don't write these things down and it hits you a second time, shit, you don't have an answer written down.
yeah, it's like you're rewiring your brain to
Absolutely.
react differently, you know. And
Absolutely.
no, I get you, bro. I like I said, I'm in the same boat on that. So as we've just touched on that, now we'll swing it back now to Rhondda Rampage Street, and we're going to touch on. Well, there's a couple of things that we're going to touch on. First thing, excuse me, is going to be the new weight classes that we've announced. Now, obviously, as we've talked about with bringing the WMO in, this is not going to really work so much for Muay Thai. This is more going to be for like K1 and boxing, because obviously with the WMO, we're going to be running through their weight classes for the titles. Now, we've got a couple of fights lined up already with the new weight classes. We're still going to be offering fights at the the catch weight bout. That's sorry, we're still going to be offering catch weight bouts as well, so people can meet in the middle. But we are going to have a 5 kilo weight difference for each title and each championship on boxing and K1. Now, is there with that difference? Do you think there's going to be much to see? You know, like 5 kilos is a bit of a big jump from 60 to 65, 65 to 70. Do you think you're going to see a lot of the smaller fighters, or is it going to be more of like the middleweights, cruiserweights, and heavyweights in those title fights?
So it goes down to experience. Firstly, you can't just anybody can't just be fighting for a
Oh, of
title.
course, of course.
I think what you tend to find, and this happened to me, is when you start fighting, you'll be, I don't know, for argument's sake, let's say 80 kilos at your first fight. You will naturally, just by being in camp, lose weight,
Yeah,
right? So by the time you say you make your debut at 80, by the time you're on your third fight, it's very likely that you're going to be down to 76, 75 anyway. Um, if you have weight to lose, if you've been in the game a while and you're already fit, you should be at your weight.
mm,
That's my argument anyway. I know people do get bigger in between fights. I've gained a little bit of weight since being out of camp, but I keep it manageable.
yeah,
I'm an athlete at the end of the day, and I don't get obese in between fights. I think people will fight at the weight they're comfortable at. And if they're not sure what weight they're comfortable at, then they're not ready for a title.
of course, of course, and that's why we introduced the classes this time. Is and the other side is I didn't want to have like 57, 60, 62, 64, 65, 66, 70. I didn't want to have like all of those titles, you know what I mean? I'd rather kind of like,
Yeah, no, you don't want your show to have a million different champions. It
yeah,
takes away from the champions.
of course. And that was the reason for it. And then that's why we brought in the categories. So you kind of have to work your way through it. So you're not just, as you said, you work your way up to the fights. Now, so we touched on the weights. Now there's a couple of fights that we've released already. Now our first one we released is Brad Bailey from Apollo, so my gym versus Bradley Couch. I don't know if you've seen any on Bradley Couch. He fought on Adrenaline, I think prior.
Let me just
Um,
pull up his Instagram because I'm
yeah,
terrible with names, but when it comes to faces, I'm like, oh, I do know him. I fucking speak to him all the time.
yeah,
Uh,
I know what you
do
mean, bro. I'm the same. Now,
you know his Instagram? What's his Instagram?
yeah, Brad underscore and then CHOOCH.
Brad Cooch.
It wasn't, was it Adrenaline?
Oh, Big Boys.
Yes,
Nine
yes, it was.
kilogram. Ooh.
So that is going to be hybrid boxing as well. So that's four ounce gloves. Yeah. So
Yeah, I'll have a go at that.
we're going for the
Me and them little gloves, boy.
we're going for fireworks on that one. That is one of those ones. So Brad Bailey from Apollo is making his debut. Brad's very, very technical. Like he's got very good straight punches. He's very he knows what he's doing in and out, in and out the range, and he's a big dude as well. He's walking around about 96 kilo now. He's about 6'2". He's a big dude, and he packs some power. So, and he asked for the 4-ounce gloves as well. So when you're asking for the 4-ounce gloves, it's gonna be it's gonna be a banger. So we've got that one, and then we're going to move up again. I'm going to go through some of the ones that we've got announced. We've got Tyler Williams versus Squirrel from KGB.
Tyler,
Now,
hang on a minute. Tyler Williams being Teddy.
no, no, no. Tyler Williams
Oh, fuck, I was going to say, and hang on a minute.
Tyler Williams being Welsh Gladiators. Tyler, so Cornelius's boy.
Oh, okay, fighting Squirrel from KGB.
Squirrel. Yeah, Squirrel from KGB.
Squirrel, man, he's quality to watch.
Awesome,
I love watching him fight. He's such an entertaining fighter, man. He just don't care.
I know.
He's wild.
I know. And I'm going to be honest, this again is going to be another, like, I wanted this one. I pushed this one, if I'm totally honest with you. So I come to it, and Tyler comes up with us. So Gladiators come up with Apollo, and they cross train with us quite a lot, right? So when they come up, I said to Tyler, I was like, "You stick to 50," because he was about 60 kilo, and then he went down, and then he went back up. I said to him, I said, "Stay at 57." I said, "We got the perfect fight for you," and I was like, "The perfect fight for you is Squirrel." Tyler's making his debut. Squirrel's just coming off, obviously, an upset against, from Adrenaline on his last outing. So, it's going to be a good scrap, man. They're both small, but they're both powerful. Squirrel just comes to fight. Tyler is the same.
He does. I read, I was reading a book. I always read like fucking martial arts books and that. And I read a book, and he was saying, like, if your opponent has come to fight, you need to try and outsmart them.
Yeah.
If your opponent is smart, you may need to just outfight them. Right. And sometimes opposites make the best fights. Yeah. Like when you've got fight IQ against fight IQ, it can be a fucking boring fight sometimes.
Yeah.
But when you've got brawler against brawler, it can be a fast fight sometimes. Yeah. And it's over. When you've got this, because Squirrel's a bit wild, and I don't know much about your boy Tay, but I imagine if he's with you, he's probably a bit switched on, right?
Well, he's more. I say they cross train with us, like they come up and they do some sparring, like Corn is obviously he is Welsh Gladiators through and through, like. But the one of the things
they come in the back then, you know what I mean? The Welsh Gladiators don't fuck about; they come to the bang.
Exactly, and that's one of the things as well is like you've got Squirrel's got Wally there as well, so and he's got a lot of good guys around him, which
absolutely
it brings out the best in Squirrel. And then you've got, as we said, Tyler's coming from the Gladiators camp. He's got guys around him there. You've got Cornelius again leading from the front, doing what Cornelius does. So, but again, man, like that one, I really pushed that one, and I cannot wait for that one. That's going to be one of those ones.
From what I've seen of Squirrel, he tends to be. He listens and he's really good until he's tired, and then he turns up the fight. Then it stops becoming about winning, and it's just about fighting.
See, this is what I mean.
It's going to be entertaining, bro. It's going to be very entertaining.
Like Squirrel fought obviously on number 2. He fought Joey Princess Knight, and that was a scrap on his own.
Squirrel, bro.
Flying Squirrel. That's what it's about. Yeah, that's what it's about, man. The flying Squirrel. So moving on up the card, we've got Mitch Jones versus Benjamin Andrews. Now Mitch is another boy from my place, 80 kilo boxing, 10-ounce gloves. Mitch is just coming off a win against a boy from the Way Gym in Bristol. Sorry, his name's I've completely lost his name. Mitch is quite powerful, forward power, forward pressure, and he comes to fight as well. Now Benjamin Andrews is fought bare knuckle. So with this one, I'll be honest, like it's gonna be a test, because from what me and Liam have watched, like this Ben is keen, he's game, he's up for a ruck, and Mitch brings that. That's what Mitch likes to do. Mitch likes to be in your face. He'll
and they're fighting
boxing, straight 10-ounce boxing. So that'll be another good one. And one of the things with Mitch is he's a big, for 80 kilo, he's a big guy. He's quite jacked.
What I've noticed and I've only really watched bare knuckle because of John Chip Chase. Like I'm a big John Chip Chase fan. So when he went over to BKFC, I watched a bit of it, and that's about it. But what I have noticed from some of the other bare knuckle guys is Their head movement's good. Their
Yeah.
evasion is good. Their footwork's good because they know they can't get hit, which is why they don't mind being in no gloves.
It's not the same fight, is it? It's not. It's not
No,
the
no,
same
it's
fight
very
as
different.
boxing. Yeah.
Very different. It only takes one touch on that chin, and
And
when
you
you've got
can't.
no, or even like your cheekbones, bro, like with no gloves on,
Yeah.
it break. You break your face real easy.
And then not just that, you don't throw any unnecessary shots. So you're not going to throw, like a double left hook and just take two on the, because you punch in elbows then, like
Yeah, you look at breaking your hands and
it's tough. So, but then, like I said, this is going to be glove 10-ounce boxing. Now, Mitch, I know, like obviously Mitch is part of my team. Like I know from the get go, like Mitch comes in prepared. Like he started with me at like 92 kilo. He fought his last fight was at 84. He's going down to 80.
there we
Like
are.
we
So this is what I said about the weights when you start
exactly
to. He will
exactly.
hit a point. He will hit a point where he runs out of body fat.
Mm.
If
And,
he's training properly, constantly,
mm,
that will happen, and then
yeah.
he'll know his weight.
I'll be honest, like if obviously whoever's listening to this back home, sorry, have a look at the matchup posters like on Instagram, and you look at Mitch, and like I said, he's about 84 kilo in that photo, and you know that like I said, he's just a big dude, so it's just gradually coming down. And
Yeah,
one of the things that he wants as well, he wants the hard camps. He wants the I say the weight cut, but not so much a weight cut, but he wants the train to feel to feel the uncomfortableness. He wants that.
yeah,
And he told me that. Like that was his words. He was like, bro, I want to be uncomfortable. I want to be doing it where I know that I've got to be doing this. So I know I've got to be doing this. And he just said he's like, it just brings that extra bit out to me. I was like, bro, I'm happy. It's like, if that's what you want to
yeah.
do.
I'm the same, bro. I need something to work towards.
Yeah,
This is why I put my name down for the show in April, and I've said, look, I'm back. I'm doing it. I'm back. I will make camp work.
yeah,
And you need people like that around you and as part of your team, so that you can all do it together. Because it's a
exactly.
lonely place if
It
you don't.
is. It is. So going up now, we're going up to another K1 bout. This one was announced yesterday. We got Travis McLennan from KGB versus Jake Emson from TCA in Hereford.
Yeah.
Now,
So I'm obviously going to be a bit biased because I'm friends with Travis. I work with Travis. Me and Travis used to work at doors together. Um, I got my face fractured once working the doors, having a little dabble. And as I fucking shook it off, I stood up. Travis is double legging the boy. And I was like, yeah, go on, Travis. Show him what time it is. Me and Travis have got an old friendship. So yeah, exciting. I know he went over to boxing, so I'm excited to see how Travis has improved his hands
yeah,
because he was boxing under Enzo for a while.
yeah.
So that'll
That's what I
be
was gonna say. So Liam, who actually does our posters, he when I released that photo, he texted me. He was like, he's seen him training with Enzo, and he's like, "Oh, this is going to be a good fight, man." So, he brought that one up himself. He's got a 2-0 K1 record, and he's 2-2 in MMA as well. So that's going to be a scrap. Now you got
yeah,
Jake Emson. Obviously, he's coming across. This goes back to our conversation earlier. He's 3-0 in Muay Thai, and he's coming across and making his official K1 debut. So now
okay,
this is going to be a scrap, this one, especially with that experience. Like obviously Travis, 6 fights, obviously in both disciplines, and then you've got Jake, with 3 fights in Thai coming across to fight K1. I think again, this gives Travis the opportunity to show off with his hands. Like because he's not so worried about the clinch now. You've got
yeah. I mean, going from I don't know how experienced was his name, Jake. You said
Jake Emson, yeah,
I don't know how much experience he has, like in overall, so to speak, in the gym, etc.
yeah,
Obviously, I would just be aware that K1 being strike and release, and obviously if he wants to try, and again with the sweeps, and I've been told off for it myself. Giffy told me off when I fought on adrenaline for sweeping. Um, I can't help it, and I imagine he won't be able to help it.
yeah,
There
of
will be
course.
muscle memory built into him that may get him in trouble in a K1 fight, and
One of
that
the Yeah, I get what you mean. One of the things that I'm gonna say on that, and it is, it, you're right. It's one of those. It's muscle memory, but from the promotion's point of view, and obviously the fighter's perspective, like, we've got, just so everybody does abide by it, like our refs, and everyone's going to be on point with that. So that's
Absolutely.
one of the things that if it does happen, like what happened to you, you'll get called up on it straight away. And
Absolutely. And I held my hands up. I said, "Fuck, sorry, Giff. It just happened.
yeah,
I
I
didn't
got it.
think about it. It just, sorry,
It just went like,
And
sorry,
yeah.
what? So we got that one. Now, going on to the one that we released today, we've got Brandon Greenow from Mamas versus Josh Norton from TCA Hereford. Now, this is another boy from TCA. Now, this is another K1 bout, 77 kilo. This one's no shin pads. Still a 3-2s. Brandon's coming off 1-0 off his debut, and Josh lost his debut. Now, both fighters, obviously, with this one, I'm not going to say they both got something to prove, but they're both coming in, with that
Are they doing 2-minute rounds or 3-minute rounds?
twos. It is 3-2s.
Okay, so like semi-pro sort of.
Yeah,
No,
semi is
no,
pro.
no shin pads, but the amateur timings.
Yeah, the reason we give people this option, right? And I'll be honest, I agree with this with Liam, is as we were talking about the classes in Thai, in K1, you either go shins or semi-pro, and then when you jump up to semi-pro, it's 3-minute rules straight away, 3-minute rounds straight away, isn't it? So I thought, well, if we can meet people in the middle, still give them the option of having the 3-2s, but then having the option to opt in for the shins or opt out for the shins, So, and we've got,
Yeah.
I'll be honest, we've got a couple of most of our fights that we've got agreed upon now with K1 are non-shin pad fights, and
Honestly, I think it's easier to fight without them, bro, because when you've got them shin pads on, they get caught. Like you try to cut underneath the elbow,
yeah,
and your shin pad's catching his elbow, so that when you actually make contact with his body, a little bit of that power has been taken away.
yeah, I get it.
It's
And
been slowed down,
yeah, one of the other things that we've done and we done it in our second one, and this is one of the things we're on point with, is everyone has to wear the same equipment.
Yeah.
So like, because you see it all the time. You'll have somebody in those like fucking super
Bro,
dense,
it
thin
happened
foam
to me,
shins.
bro. It happened to me. I fought the English champion in K1. Bear in mind, he's the English champion now,
Mhm.
right? And I won't name the promotion because I'm not going to do that, right? But I went there and I'm expecting to fight the champion of England now for the Southern English champion. Fucking, let's have it off, right? I'm expecting a scrap. Just about to walk out, the fucking woman's like, "Where's your shin pads?" I was like, "You are?" She says, "Where's your shin pads?" I was like, "Oh, fucking hell, I'm not wearing shin pads." And she was like, "You are?" And I was like, "Oh, fucking hell, am I?" All right, okay. So I grabbed the kids' ones, didn't I? I put the kid ones on. And I was like, "Fucking, where are these then?" Fucking. She come back and made me put the big ones on. And I was like, "So we're sparring."
Yeah.
I'm sparring the English champion, is what you're saying. And then it pissed me off so much. I was like ranting and raving with other people. Like, I beat him, but it is what it is. And then I spoke to Cornelius about it, and Cornelius was like, "Leave it with me." And he sorted it that for me to fight the guy again. And he was like, "Yeah, he'll fight you, no shin pads, for his English belt." And I was like, "Oh, mate.
That's Cornelius there, that isn't it?
I've
Just
moved on now." But it
yeah,
goes to show that if people in your corner want you to have something, they'll make it happen for you.
yeah,
Because it didn't happen for me when, without going down that road and getting nasty about it, but it didn't happen for me. And then all of a sudden, Cornelius could make it happen.
yeah. No, bro, I'd be
Yeah,
honest, like
so,
I've been there myself, like it's tough. It is tough because one of the things that I tell my guys, and you're probably the same as me, is the only thing that you've got to worry about is a fight. Everything else that's going
yeah.
on outside, that's my issue.
I
It,
will not let you get hurt
yeah,
or get set up or
yeah,
put your faith in me and it'll all be okay. You
yeah.
train.
And that's exactly my look at it as well, because like you're there as the like I don't want to go into it, but fuck it. So
But
we had it last week, like where I purposely made the like you purposely make the effort to have the conversation with the ref, the judges, and whatever, and then when you get completely blown off, you're just like, well, fuck you, like, do you know
yeah,
what I
I know
mean?
what you mean. But anyway, let's not turn it
No,
now. I
back.
like what you're doing. I like what you're doing with the shin pads as well. So, like, obviously, I come up to your interclub the other week, and you
Yeah,
made it clear as day and abundant that everybody is to wear big shin pads. This is an interclub. You are here for interclub sparring,
yeah,
not to fight.
no,
And I'm
and
really glad. And it was really well run, and it was really playful, and
mm,
hopefully, people benefited and improved their skills. It's
exactly.
in the nature of the name,
Yeah.
interclub.
that's one of the things that with Rhondda Rampage that we've got is you come if you fight and you fight in K1 and you're wearing the shin pads, you're both wearing the same shin pads. You're not wearing those big fucking combat armor ones that's got like that much of fucking foam on it, and then your opponent's wearing these,
Yeah,
whatever. That's not fair because you
absolutely.
it goes two ways. I could if I'm wearing those big combat ones, those big thick ones, I could check your kicks all day.
And it's not
All
just
day.
that, but you can power kick in those. If you want to
Exactly.
power, like when I'm hard sparring and I've got them on, I will kick harder than I would actually kick in a fight because I know I'm not going to break my foot in your elbow. I
Exactly.
know I'm not going to bust my shin on your hip.
Yeah.
Like I'm comfortable to just wing them.
And that's the thing.
It's unfair. You are
Yeah.
right.
That's the reason why we do it. So what we have, and we done it on the last one, was our runners go around at the start of the day. You bring your kit to me, Liam, or one of the other runners, and we will acknowledge the kit and check it off. If not, the runner literally will run between the fight, and he tapes up your shin pads. So he has to check them to make sure that they're the right ones. Just because like we said, we don't want it to be. I don't want it to be half-assed, man. Like I don't want you to come out in those big fuck off ones, and then somebody else comes out in those small ones, and then next thing you know, you have somebody arguing with somebody else, and that's not the way we want to do it. And also, again, back to the whole 50-50 thing. Do you know what I mean? It's about 50-50 fights. It's about good fights, like, and
Absolutely.
that's like I said, man. Like, that's one of the things with it. So we've got they're the fights we've got announced so far. Now, I will be honest. We've got about 16 fights confirmed with two title fights on that. And like I said, we're just releasing a fight today, and there's so much more that we're going to be offering. So we're going to be doing like a build up show. We're going to try and have like a face off show. So we're going to try and get the guys in so they can have a like it'd be something like this and try and have a conversation. Like we just want to build the fights for everybody else, and like I said, for £25 a ticket, right? And the venue we're in now is completely different. It's a bigger venue, better venue. We've got,
Yeah,
like,
because what's the parking like at the new venue? Because the old venue was quite difficult to park, wasn't it?
yeah, like one of the things that we have done, and we've contacted the police and we've contacted the council to see if they can open us, like a waste ground, so to say, so we can park. But they've contacted the street, and it's like a main road bypass that's got no double yellows, so we can all park down there. There's a
Yeah,
car.
perfect.
There's a car park in the venue. There's little things, and obviously now as you're part of it, like there's things that we're going to be doing. So we're going to have a food truck outside again. Well, two this time. We're going to have there's a seating area outside there, so you can eat and then you can go in to watch the show. We've got, like the changing rooms are bigger. We've got like there's so much that is better, like
Yeah.
the walkouts come onto a stage now, you and it's all about the competitors. That's all it is, it's
Yeah,
all,
it's giving them that experience, and obviously Stand Up War and Giffy, they're already well established and they're doing well, but it wasn't enough. And now we've got FFC coming up and we've got WMO getting involved, we've got proper Muay Thai now, and we're going to have it all legit. It just gives that extra platform, that extra opportunity. If you want to fight 6 times, let's say it's January, you're writing your goals. I hope everybody does this. I bet a lot of people fucking don't. Wise up, right? So it's January, you're writing your goals, yeah? And you say, I want to fight 7 times this year. And I want to start at C class and end at B class, right? Last year, the year before, you'd struggle to pull that off.
yeah,
You would. You would. You'd have Giffy maybe 2 or 3, and then if you want any more Muay Thai, you're going to have to leave Wales. You're going to have to. Now you're looking at the realm of hotels and fuel, and it gets harder to achieve your goals.
yeah,
And having FFC doing what you're doing and what we're all collaborating together to try and achieve, it's going to make people. It's going to make it easier for people to achieve those goals, and they're not unrealistic goals. If you're new and you're at N class and you say, okay, I want to fight 5 times this year, I want to go from N class to C class so that next year I'm ready for B class. It's now very possible and quite easy to do that within a year without leaving the country, without having to book hotels and fucking fork out on fuel and all. it's getting easier for people in Wales, and that is such a positive.
And that was the worst thing. Like, I'll be honest, we went up to Nottingham with Foxo. Obviously you've seen Foxy, my boy from the Inter Club. Like, we went up to Nottingham, and you're driving for 3.5 hours. Don't get me wrong, right? One of the things with Foxy is it was a step in, so you know what it's like. It's a late step in, you're going up, but you're driving for 3.5 hours, and Foxy still went up, done the business. We were in and out. He smashed it, done everything we needed him to. But like you said, it's the 60 quid petrol, and then it's the hotel. Or if you got
And
a night, night
it's
before weigh in, and it's just long.
it's selling tickets as well. It's hard for people that want to go. And if you want to make a living out of this, you do have to be able to sell tickets,
Yeah.
and you have to be able to promote yourself, which is something I've always struggled with, but I'm learning, and I've had help from everyone, you included, on how to get better at this. But having an additional show, having FFC and Stand Up War together, it makes it easier to fight Muay Thai and sell tickets.
Yeah.
Because you haven't got to ask your family to travel halfway across the UK because you don't want to fight in shin pads anymore.
Yeah.
Or because you've only had 4 fights and you need 5.
Yeah.
That's what you've wrote in your goals, and now you need to go 6 hours away. And that's not the case anymore. We've got 2 very good shows promoting Muay Thai on our doorstep.
And that's one of the other things as well, is like with our fighters, I'm not going to say you've got no expectations to sell tickets, but if you're a local boy, if you're a
You
local,
are going to sell tickets.
yeah,
Your mates from work will come.
Yeah, it's
your family will
expected.
come.
Yeah,
people will come to local shows that won't travel to watch you fight.
But then when like I said, like one of the things with us is we're keeping the ticket prices to 25 quid. And
that's cheap given a lot of other prices that are out there.
The reason we do that is because, again, like we know that, like you just said, if you've got, these goals of getting it, and then not just that as well, but like referencing back to Foxy, like if you're a younger lad, let's say 13, 14, and you don't end up fighting on the show, but then 12 of your teammates are fighting on the show, right? And let's say it's 45 quid a ticket, you're already doing 120 quid just to watch 12 of the boys fight. Do you know what I mean? So the reason we try to keep it to that lower level of £25, it is because if you've got that family of 4, you're like, right, it's not as much. Do you know what I mean? And one of the things is, I know it's not super duper money, but we're still paying the fighters the commission. We're still giving them something back. We're still making sure that they, feel recognized as well in what they're doing. Because again, without the fighters, we haven't got a show.
Absolutely.
And that's what it's about. But in all honesty, man, like I'm just fucking excited for what we got coming up. Like as we released, I tried my best to hold the WMO thing for as long as I possibly could, but it just fucking come out of me with that one. But like,
it's such a big step, bro, and it's such a big step, and it's going to open so many other doors.
Yeah, and one of the things I want to say as well is like, you obviously you thanked us with getting you involved, but like it's great to have you involved with with the show, and not just that as well, but like with the Inter Club that we run under Apollo, and it just means a lot that we get in people like yourself who are Muay Thai through and through, and getting the recognition, especially when you come in and commentate, and like there's stuff that you offer, there's explanations that you offer that people don't understand.
I remember one of the Thai fights, and I was commentating the clinch, and it was quite a heavy clinch fight anyway. And the knees that were getting landed were, say, like 50-50. Maybe you could argue that the guy who lost actually landed more knees. However, I pointed out, and I still stand on it now, the guy who won, he won because he was not just striking knees, but he was controlling the clinch. He had his hands locked.
Yeah.
His gloves were interlocked, and he was ragging the boy around. Granted, the boy was landing knees. Some argued, and I heard people argue, he landed more knees. How could he have lost the clinch? And I'm like, because he was getting fucking ragged about there.
And this is what I mean, is stuff like that you explain in that and going into the detail, especially on the mic, especially when you've got people, because obviously we'll do the same, we'll have a guest commentator from FFC again with you and, you and Ashley, but at the same time, it's like having that insight of what actually is going on to people who are less experienced back home, and when they rewatch it or when they're watching it, and they can hear, okay, so this is what's actually happening, and this is why he won that fight, because I find this might just be me, but I find like without commentary, sometimes when you rewatch the amateur shows, you can get swayed a little bit, because especially if it's a
Especially,
home crowd. If I land a knee, everyone goes wild, and then obviously the other boy then lands three of them, and then you can't hear a fucking thing. So
absolutely, and that will get in the judges' minds as
it
well.
does, it does,
You know,
and
I watched a documentary on coaching. I'm a fucking nerd, bro, honestly. I watched a documentary on coaching, and the coach was a UFC coach, and he said, "Look, turn the music off and let's spar without music." And they realized that they could hear everything that was being said in between the rounds,
yeah,
and it dawned on them that the judges can also hear everything. So if you're in the corner telling your fighter, "You need to do more, you need to throw more of this, throw more of that," the judges are hearing you.
yeah,
Watch what you say.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because it does have a big effect, and yeah, it does.
It does, and a lot of people see as well, like especially with Thai, is the coach react in the corner. Oh way, fucking, they react, they scream. People are like, what the fuck's he doing over there? One of the big things for that is because people can hear me.
Yeah,
You
and
know?
it not just that as well, but it spurs on your fighter. They
Oh
need to
yeah.
know what they're doing right as well.
Of course, and again, it goes back to the coaching style and the coaching aspect, and the way that you portray yourself as a coach as well, doesn't it? It's
Definitely.
if you do that in the gym, then it's like a running joke with us and the gladiators. Like we always just shout ooh at each other just to take the piss.
Yeah,
It's those little things, isn't it? That become part of the gym culture. And then obviously those things part of the gym culture crosses over into the fights. And
I
yeah,
think sometimes people forget about morale, and morale
yes,
is just as important as skill.
yeah.
You can have, and people are becoming more aware of it nowadays with the whole mental health movement and everything else. But if you could be the best skilled fighter in the world and you could have the best recovery rate and cardiovascular ability, however, if you were having a tough time and you're a fighter, you're going to push through, right?
Yeah.
Now, if everyone around you is constantly bringing you down, giving you shit, that is going to have a negative impact on your fight on fight night.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're having a hard time, but everyone around you is bringing you up, that's going to have an effect on your fight night as well. And I think sometimes in gym cultures, just because head coach isn't giving people shit doesn't mean he should be quiet about it.
Yeah.
Sometimes people need to be told to fucking shut up, man. Just leave them alone. They're in
Yeah.
fight camp. Leave them alone.
And one of the things that I find, and I found this within my guys, obviously you find this yourself, like everyone knows, I'm not going to say their role because that doesn't really fit, but everyone knows what they're good at, and then everyone knows when to bring that out. Like
Absolutely.
somebody's upset or whatever. Like you've got one of the boys who'll have the conversation, and then as soon as that conversation's done and they've kind of like come back from being upset, then it's the fucking class joker starts coming in and starts winding
Yeah,
everybody up again.
absolutely. And you
And
need that dynamic in the gym.
yeah, you do, because if like one of the things that I push, and I've always pushed this, is in the gym, it's your house. So what I mean by that is I don't care how upset you get. I don't care how tired you get.
Absolutely.
I don't
Absolutely.
I don't care if you fucking break down in the middle of the ring and start crying and telling everybody how much you fucking hate the place. I don't give a fuck. If you do that here, then you won't do it out there. And that's the reason why we do it. And it
Absolutely.
encourages, like we said, it just encourages that camaraderie of it. Like, and not just that, but you share blood together. You know what I mean? Like you're,
Absolutely. I had someone, obviously not going to name names and that, but I had somebody get upset in class the other day. They were going through something in their personal life. So we had a hug. I said, "No, don't worry about it.
yeah,
Listen," and they were apologizing. I said, "Don't apologize. Fucking hell.
that's what
Don't
you're here for.
apologize." I said,
Yeah,
"Listen, I said, give me a hug, man." And then he fucking stops crying. Has a bit of sweet, sweet. And, you're all
exactly.
laughing now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
You have to be there
exactly.
for people like that. You can't. There's no bitchiness at Olympus, and I know there's no bitchiness at FFC.
Yeah.
If there was, I wouldn't be involved.
Of course, and that's
Yeah,
one of the best things with the show is like we, me and Liam bring the attitude that we've learned from other promoters. Like again, I reference back to Wally, you know, and Jazz as well. Like Jazz from Captured by Jazz, like one of our number one supporters from the start. Like she's come in. Like there's been times where me and Liam are like, not contradicting, sorry, but like we're talking about something and something's not happening, it's not going the right way, and it's just like, right, shut the fuck up and leave it. We don't need it now. Just leave it alone. And
Yeah.
having those outside voices coming in and just having that support and leaning on other people, it has helped. And like you said, you learn every time, and that's one of the
Absolutely.
things.
No, nobody knows everything. Do you know what I
No.
mean? Sometimes you just need to do it and trial and error.
Yeah, yeah. And that's the thing, man. Like we've got obviously with the show now, with Rhondda Rampage, we've got as you can see behind me, we've got February the 8th, which is coming up. And then going forward, then we have altogether this year, we've got 4 shows. So we've got February the 8th, which is going to be obviously Rhondda Rampage 3, and then May the 25th, which is Rhondda Rampage 4, August the 24th, Rhondda Rampage 5, and then November the 1st, Rhondda Rampage 6. Now I'm gonna say that the momentum that we gained from the first one going into the fourth one, like I already got plans on where we want to be for the next one, So
Yeah.
like,
So I mean, obviously, from talking on behalf of Olympus here, obviously, for the February show, I'll be sort of backstage kind of thing, helping with the staffing.
yeah,
Wherever you need me, that's where I'll be. But then, moving into May and the rest of the year, who knows, man? I mean, obviously, I have some guys that are ready,
yeah.
but I'm not going to pressure my guys. If they want to fight, they'll come to me and they'll ask me, and then I will tell them they
And
can fight.
that's what it's
I,
about as
I
well.
know, I've got names I can put in, but I don't want to tell them that. I'd
Yeah,
rather them come to me and say, Mark, I think I'm ready for a fight, and then
yeah.
I'll be like, fucking, you've been ready for weeks. So let's go.
I write your name down, bro. You're already
Yeah, your name's been brought down since January.
you're in the book, bruv. You're in the book. No,
But
man.
I'm
Like,
excited, man. It's going to be crazy. Like, obviously, the February show. Are we having? Have you spoke to Sky or Yasmin, or is that something we can't discuss yet?
I can't touch on that one yet.
Okay, we'll
Yeah,
talk
yeah,
afterwards.
we'll talk about that one. Like in all honesty, the way that it's working at the moment, right? So I wake up, Liam will send me like today's release, or let's say for example. So Liam will send me today's release, and he's like, right, this is today's release. Yeah, we've got a title fight lined up for Christmas Day. Shouldn't be saying too much, but
Yeah,
I,
come on. Yeah,
I,
yeah. It's not. Yeah, don't say too much. But
yeah, not gonna go too much.
I'm only asking. I'm only asking because I take nothing away from Yasmin. She fully outsmarted and she fully won the fight, right?
Yeah.
But I want to see Sky win. I want to see Sky knock someone out. That girl, power.
Yeah, I
And
know.
unfortunately for Sky, Yasmin just happened to dance around and use her footwork and a really beautiful display of Muay Thai. You can win Muay Thai on the back foot. Obviously, it was a K1 fight, but for me, Yasmin was landing the more knees, and that's why she probably won, right? But
Yeah,
I want to see Sky bang. I want to
yeah,
see her bang. That girl is aggressive. She's game. I want to see her bang. And I think,
yeah,
unfortunately, she just came up against a really smart Muay cow who knew how to utilize footwork and knees.
yeah. That dude, that's all it is. It goes back to that point of matchmaking, doesn't it? You're coming up
I think
against somebody that is styles make fights.
I think Sky versus another puncher. That's a fight, bro. I want to
I
see
know.
it. I want to see this Sky get a win, and I want to see her knock someone out.
Dude, when I rewatched it at the end of the club, like one of the like we said, like one of the things with that is her style is always the same. So she is there to go, and it's again even at the not I'm not gonna say she was putting everything onto the punches, but even at the end of the club, she was like literally under this girl's fucking nose, and it was like right, let's and that's what and again bringing her down and from Pro K and and again like that's what we won those Pro K is a fucking they're a stacked team, like obviously they were out
Yeah,
at the club.
yeah. They were at Pendragon.
Yeah, yeah.
So in fact, that's another show, but they're new as well. But yeah, I've not heard much coming from that area since that first one actually. But
But we got like with Pro K, like Pro K come down for the Inter Club, obviously, and then they're coming down for this show. Like we fought on their show, Jory, and then Mitch, as we were just speaking about, Mitch picked up his win on the Pro K show, and then Jory, one of the current FFC champ, he picked up the Southern area title up there as well in boxing. So like they've got a really good setup. Like it's a really good team, and it's
I like Jory. Is he? Oh well, it'll get released, I imagine. But yeah, I like Jory. He's A bit of a character, isn't he?
He looks like a GTA character all the time, doesn't he? You know, like talking about the the one in his last fight, honestly, bro, right, he was wearing these what I could only call Barbie looking glasses from the minute we got to Bristol until literally until the minute we got to fight. He warmed up in them.
Did he
He,
ask you to make the belt pink?
yes.
Or he did.
Yeah.
So not only did he knew he was going to win that fight, he
Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. He didn't know he was going to win that fight. Shaba was on a five-fight win streak, just so we know.
was
And
it
yeah, Jory come back off 2, 3 years. 3 years, first fight back. And we had
that
issues.
confident,
Yeah.
that
And we had issues
composure?
with the weight cut. Well, we didn't have issues with the weight cut, but because Shaba didn't want to go any heavier. Originally, it was agreed at 65. Then it went down to 63. And then from 63, it went down to 60. And then it was a day before weigh-in. Jory made 60. And then Shaba wanted a rehydration clause in the contract where you only can go up to 62 the next day. And
Okay.
yeah, and then so this is back to the reference in Jazz where Jazz was just like, right, just if they don't want it, fucking leave them. If they do, happy days. But literally, bro, Shaba come down on a five-fight win streak. He just won a title, and he come down and yeah, Jory, well, he outclassed him if I'm totally honest,
Brilliant
you
as well.
know. But yeah, bro, that
I,
I
I
per
haven't obviously had the pleasure of watching him fight. I've only actually, I know him through the commentating, and
yeah,
that's
yeah,
the only interaction I've had. But he's a hell of a character, hell of a
yeah,
boy. And
yeah.
I can't wait to see him fight. I was asking him about the belt, and I was like, "Why do you have a pink belt? Is that a woman's belt or something?" And he was like,
Oh,
"No,
bro.
I like pink, bro." And I was like, "Yeah, you're a character, man." And
Literally, bruv, everything he got is pink. You know, like the Apollo colors are grey, red, and black, right? And Jory is specifically everything I do with obviously through Flow Fightwear, which is for Apollo. He asks me, he's like, "Can I have this in pink?" So he and because obviously with Flow Fightwear being me as well, I'm like, well, I can't really say no, can I? It's all I'm doing is just
yeah,
fucking about with a gradient, like
yeah,
you know. So okay, I'll let you do that, but. Yeah, bro, he's got like we've all got a camel rash guard, which is a grey rash guard, and grey and red. Geordie's is bright pink. Of course, it's fucking bright pink. And he's got the matching spats. Of course, they're bright pink, you know. And his fight kit is Gladiator, black and pink. Is fucking, you know. But he wanted a pink belt. Like when he won the belt, he asked me. He said, "Look," he said, "you know, can it be pink?" I was like, "Of course it can. I'm designing it. Of course it can be fucking pink." You know, it doesn't bother me, but yeah, man, like I said, with that Shaba fight, that was a tough fight for him. And then be fair to Shaba, like he went on then and he's won like two or three titles, and I think he's on like another 4 fight win streak after Jory. You know, so he's no like I said, he was no bum. It's we one of the other things as well is I'm gonna be honest, I wanted to test him. I wanted to see this personality and I wanted to see how far I'm not gonna say how far I could push him, but I wanted to see like how far he would go, like how deep he would dig and you know, if you watch that fight back, because obviously it's on the Rhondda Rampage YouTube channel, you watch that fight back and you see you know he's a very good boxer. He's a very good counter puncher. He's a very good with what he does. But one of the things that I seen from that fight was he wanted it, and I think that's what won him the fight was the fact that he wanted it a little bit more than Shaba. And I think that you know fighting in your hometown and then fighting in front of your own crowd and stuff, obviously that does spur you on. But I just think that with everything that Jory had to do, obviously I'm gonna sound biased. He's my team, isn't he?
yeah.
But like everything he had to do with the weight cut, the rehydration clause, the which we'll never ever ever do again. And if anyone comes at us asking for a rehydration clause in FFC, I'm gonna tell you to fuck off. It is not something. It is not
You're
something that
not
is
listen.
bollocks.
You're not doing fucking £10,000 purses. It's
Exactly.
one championship, buddy. You
Yeah.
know, listen, just show up, make weight. I don't actually agree with weight cutting at a low level
Same.
because I don't do it. And I actually had a guy. I'm not going to name names because he's my secret weapon. But I had one of my guys talk to me about weight, and I said to him, "Look, mate, I'm not going to pretend to be a subject matter expert here because I'm not.
Mm.
I'll tell you how it is. I cut weight in fight camp. A week before I fight, I'm on weight. I don't do a weight cut, like a water cut. I don't know how to do it safely, so I'm not going to advise you to do one unless you get a nutritionist who can help you through it. It's just not something I do. And I don't think anybody at a lowish, medium-ish level should be doing it.
I agree.
And maybe I'm wrong because I don't understand it, but I just don't see the necessity. Unless you're fighting at the top elite level and you're, getting paid good money, why?
No, I agree. Like the reason it started at 65 because I think we were looking at the weight classes, I think in the first one, and that's where it started at 65. And then it went to 63 because Shaba fought at 63. Jory was walking around 63.9. So I was like, okay, I'm happy with that. It's fucking point 0.9. This was way before even the fight was confirmed.
Kilo
And then,
allowance.
yeah. So then it went down to the 60 and then with the rehydration stuff. And yeah, it was, but then at the same time, if we didn't have that, I'll be honest, if we didn't have that, I wouldn't have learned what we did, like I
The
just,
guy who asked for the rehydration, how many tickets did he sell?
not too many.
Where do you think you are, bro?
Bro, this is the thing, right? Like I was all right with it. One of the reasons why I didn't I'm not gonna say kick off, but one of the reasons why I didn't really say so much was he stepped in. But
Yeah, I
then,
mean, there's appreciation for that,
yeah,
of
of
course.
course. But then, like I said, like, you know, we, it's, for me, if you're fighting at 65, why can't you fight at 65? If you're fighting this, but if you fight in your next three fights at 65, why are you trying to kill this before we even start? you
Yeah.
know. But bro, in all honesty, it's one of them, and like we've way past that now. That's one of the things with this. Like that's one of the learning curves. You chalk it up to a learning curve. But then,
This is what, we talked about it earlier, where it's sometimes just trial and error and keep
yeah,
going.
yeah,
And
and that's what it was. And like I said, like no fucking weight reclosing, no
not
fucking
happening again.
no. If anyone even comes at us, then I'll turn into Dana White, like proper like fuck this. This
The
isn't
one
happening.
way you can put it to bed, I think, and I might be wrong again because I'm not a nutritionist, but one way you could sort of try and put it to bed is just having same day weigh-ins and be like, look,
Yeah.
weigh in on the morning of the fight. No fucking about. That's your weight. Weigh in
Well,
on the morning of the fight.
the only ones that we're gonna do, I think are gonna be day before, probably only gonna be the title fights, and
Yeah, and I mean,
that's
obviously
it.
at that level, you do that so that if you want to do a water cut and you have a
Yeah,
nutritionist who can help you do all that safely, fantastic. You're at title level,
yeah,
cool. But if you're not, why are you? Because the only thing I sort of understand about it and the risk I understand is your body's mostly water. When you dehydrate yourself to that level to make weight, the water that protects your brain, the cerebral fluid, that also needs to now be
yeah. Rehydrated, yeah,
rehydrated and put back in place. So for me, I've never done it because in my head, I've always thought do that and fight, you're more likely to get knocked out. And like
yeah.
people know how I fight. I'm very much just meet in the middle and just have let's just see who's tougher, you know.
And
Um,
that's the thing, man. Like I know Rogan Blatt, like Joe Rogan blasts on about it with the UFC all the time, but like I disagree with weight cutting. You can't be like fucking you can't be walking around at fucking 84 kilo and fighting at 70. There's no way on God's green
that's
earth,
insane.
you know.
I mean, again, I'm not a nutritionist. I won't
Yeah.
claim to be one. However, I can't see how that's safe. If a
No.
nutritionist wants to fucking comment below or what do you call it when you do a video, a split video?
Oh, reaction
If,
pod.
yeah, if a nutritionist wants to react to this, educate us fools. Let us know
Do
pros and
it.
cons,
Fucking right. Yeah.
safety features, pros and cons of doing water cuts. Explain to us because I'm always keen to learn.
And
I'll
then
create,
not just that, then that if you do that, then that gives everybody else the fucking, the
all the
education
knowledge.
as well. So then people can actually see what they're doing wrong. Because again, referencing back to this old school type of place, I guarantee you that there's those fucking mental, right, to stop eating on Wednesday. It's no more fucking liquid now, and then you make weight. I guarantee that there's still those type of people still doing it.
Yeah, and people get bad advice, bro, and obviously this is why I'm as honest as I can be with my guys, and I say I'm not a nutritionist. I'm not going to pretend to
Mm.
be one. For me, what do you weigh? Can you lose weight? but the week before the fight, you need to be the weight we've agreed.
Yeah. And one of the worst things with it as well is that you get people who are too fucking they got way too like a too much of a big number. You know, it's like I could easily do 10 kilo. You could probably do the first 6, but then you know that last little 4 that you've got, you know, that's going to be the hardest one, you know, and then
And I think people they don't fact check their friends.
Yeah.
And they get themselves in trouble. There was a guy, should I name him? No, I'm not going to name him. There was a guy that was meant to, oh, you know who I'm on about anyway, who was meant to fight on Mason's show, didn't fight because he couldn't make weight.
Yeah.
How much bad advice do you think that kid's getting? I'm telling you, he's getting loads, because look at his behaviors and and what he's doing, and he's messing up his future, because this kid is good. He's actually a good fighter.
Well,
but he's getting such bad advice by the people around him. He's not going to last long.
And then at the same time, he was at an event the night before with another weight, you know, with either a weight cut or a weight limit, you know. And don't get me wrong,
bad advice. This kid is a kid.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say.
We won't name him for obvious reasons, but he is a kid, and ultimately, his behaviors, as far as I'm concerned, are a reflection of those around him. If someone in my gym under the age of 18 behaved like that, I can tell you now, we'd be having a Sunday morning in that gym and we'd be fucking fixing them behaviors. Nobody's doing that for him. Nobody's teaching him right from wrong.
One of the biggest things that we touched on at the start of this conversation that me and you had was, if you fight somebody, then you expect them to turn up their best.
Absolutely.
Now, that boy's opponent done everything, made weight, you know, turned up, fucking put a fight camp in, and you know,
it's not fair, bro.
No,
it's really not.
No, and he was there, he was ready to go, and considering then
you're now affecting other people's goals. That kid may have wrote down to only have 2 fights this year. Yeah. That may have been his only opportunity to reach his goal, and you've taken it away from him because you're a lazy little fucking dickhead, or because you had bad advice, or I'm not sure about the full.
No, of course.
This is why I don't name names, because I don't have the full story. And there's always 2 sides to a story.
Yeah, but, and this is the thing. It's like you just said, we don't.
None of my students would be doing that.
No,
none of them. No. End of story.
No, we don't know what happened there. We only got told that was the thing. Like, we only had that conversation when that conversation come out. It wasn't anything else, was it? It was just like, this is what's happening. And then my other thing with that, right, is obviously when you're saying about it fucks it up for the opponent. It's not just that though. It was the whole fight order was changed. The whole event then completely fucked about because of one. You know, this is the other side that people don't understand. Like, when a promoter runs a fight lineup, or an event time or a running time, like when it comes to fight day, you don't expect that to change. That's there, you know. Do you know what I mean? That's there. That's what's happening. And you have the entrances are all correlating to it. You have the light shows are correlating, the MC, everyone knows. And then when one thing fucks up, and you have to rejig the whole thing, it's a fucking nightmare.
And now you've got runners running around fixing that instead of checking on the fighters. Yeah. And it just fucks everything. You've got friends and family that have paid tickets that aren't now going to get to see their boy fight.
Yeah.
There's a whole backlog and knock-on effect. And it speaks volumes to the people he has around him. I know, there'll be people watching this that know who we're talking about. And the person we're talking about may watch this, and it goes and speaks volumes to the team you have around you. Nobody from my gym, that would not happen. It wouldn't happen.
And that's the thing. A lot of people, when they are watching this, they've just got to remember that even though we've got an opinion, that that's an opinion. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, obviously, I try to be as upfront as
of course
at times, but I don't know the full story.
Really and that's the thing. That's what I'm getting at is
I've been told it's to do with weight, and if it is purely to do with weight, then I stand on what I've said.
Yeah.
If I don't know the full story, then cool, I don't know the full story.
But then again, though, the story we got told was the story we got told. It wasn't, and that's the thing. It wasn't dumbed down. It wasn't like, oh, this is that. No, we just got, told on the day, this is what happened. And one of the things that I think that you brought up, which is a very valid point, right? And I think which is a big thing that people don't understand is the supporters following, like, especially if like you see your mum and your dad, for example. Let's say that, they're not the biggest combat. Like my mother never watched me fight. She would sit in the car park and wait until I fought, and then, fucking all good, right? But like you get those people then who just coming to watch you, like you said, like you spent that money just to watch that one person go, and then you're like, well, okay, I'm not gonna say I'm not interested in anymore, but then you're a bit like, oh, fucking, your bubble
Like,
burst.
I had my fucking debut. I had people come from North Yorkshire and all over the UK. Imagine if my opponent pulled up.
So I mean,
Yeah, like my friends had bought tickets, booked hotels. Some of them stayed with me. Like it was a big event, and obviously it was my debut, so I didn't know like what could have gone wrong.
yeah,
Now I've been in the sport a while and involved in organizations and stuff. Like I see now, like it was big risk actually for me to invite those friends.
yeah,
But yeah, there's always a knock-on effect, man. People need to understand how much work goes into the back scene,
yeah,
and people need to respect that, and they need
yeah.
to show up when they're supposed to show up. And I think that's a good thing you've got with Flow is there's not really what's the right word to word this? There's not any disrespectful teams involved. Everybody that was there was respectful, and that's the vibe and that's the atmosphere you want.
Yeah, because I'll be honest, one of the things that me and Liam are striving for, right, is we want it to be the best that we can give you. So then we want to get back the best that you can give us. Do you know what
Yeah,
I mean? So like all the work that we put in, the reason we put in all of this work in and put in, like spending just the little things, like the posters, and then, like the matchup photos, and we have a poster for each fighter on the night, and all of these type of things. Like they are there just for them. And like we said, when you get it back, that's when it means the world. But then you do, man, you do get some fucking arsehole fighters sometimes. But then what you do then is that, okay, cool, we'll never bring you on again,
yeah,
and that's one of the best things with it, that I'm not going to say that you've got the power to do that, but if somebody mugs you off, or they accept a fight and then pull out, or they don't make weight, or, they don't do what's expected, you're okay. Okay, cool. You'll just remember that for the next one.
yeah.
And then
And
one of the,
this is, yeah, but I'm so glad you just said that because the person we were just talking about, I just want to go back there because I don't want anyone to think that I'm
yeah, of
slack.
course.
Well, I got nothing against him. I think he's all right. I do not agree with his behaviors, but I have talked to this kid one on one when other people aren't around, and I
Yeah.
actually think he's all right. I think he's getting terrible advice.
Mm.
I think he's surrounding himself with fucking shit people, and I think that's what's happening. And
Yeah.
as you just said, if you've got the right people around you, do you know what I mean? Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like,
Because you've got to remember that, as you said, having people around you to check you is another good thing. But then also having
right,
people around you to make sure that you're doing the right thing. Because if you sit back
absolutely,
and you only see negative aspect, or you sit back and you only see the shit that's going down, then and you don't call her out, then that's down to you then as well. You're part of the issue. But then if you're sitting there and
absolutely.
you're getting involved and you know what's right and you bring it up, then it's different. And like we said, man, like going back to that point that you said, like it's just an opinion. Do you know what I mean? Like that's because of the way that you handle yourself, and the way that you look at your team, and the way that that's what you expect from your guys. Like I'm the same boat. I never expected. Like I've told the boys myself, I was like, it doesn't matter if you were a fucking, if it's 86 or it's 96 or whatever, you make that. And one
Yeah.
of the things that I've said,
Respect first.
yeah,
Respect first.
yeah, one of the things I've said to my all of my team is like, no matter what happens, is you always make weight, you always show up to fight. There's no excuse. It's you've agreed upon it, you've signed the dotted line. If there's an issue prior, cool, we'll deal with the issue. But otherwise, you do everything in your power to bring the best version of yourself to that.
Absolutely. It's
You
about
know,
respect. And that's
yeah,
the bottom line for me. And it's always been the bottom line for me. Like, there was a mix up in dates. Like, obviously, I put my name down for April for the obvious. And then I seen Liam Harrison. I thought he posted about his fight, which is in March.
Yeah, yeah.
But he posted about Hitman Fight League, which is happening also in April.
Yeah.
Happens to be the same day. I seen that and I thought, fuck, I've got tickets. Shit. So straight away I messaged the promoter, look, I'm really sorry. I actually think I'm at this. I hope I haven't fucked you about. It's about respect. Do you know what I mean? I'm not
It
going
is.
to leave it. I didn't leave it a split second. It turned out I was wrong. And I had to say to him, oh, never mind. Actually,
I'm way off.
I'm fucking way off. But I didn't hesitate. It's the first thing I'd done because it's about respect. It's about being open and honest, and we're all on the same page and we're all working towards the same goal here.
Yeah, and that's the thing as well, is like you said, then it's like going back to what we said about remembering those type of people. You've got to remember that, like as you said, close knit promoters all speak to each other. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like Wally, we asked Wally for advice on somebody that's fought on his show, and he'd be like, right, what was this like, or what happened, or was this, and that's the thing. Everyone speaks about not everybody speaks about everybody, but everyone has got their own experience of what happened. So then you'll get that, you'll hear about it because obviously you'll get told about it, and that's one of the things. And that's one of the things about the respect aspect. It's like you've got to remember that you should portray yourself in the way that you want to be seen, and you should also portray yourself in the way that people want to remember you by.
Yeah, yeah. Obviously, with that specific person, I think age plays a part in the immaturity part, but then it's massively down to, I believe, the people around him.
Yeah,
Uh,
of course. And dude, like we said, like one of the things that I want to highlight again on that point is everyone's got their own opinion, and you've also got to see it from a lot of people like me and you. I'm not going to say we come from different different backgrounds to where they are, but everyone's got a different upbringing in martial arts as well. Do you know what I mean? So like,
yeah,
there's certain things that are acceptable in one gym that are completely fucking unacceptable in another gym, or
absolutely.
you know,
Absolutely. I
and
mean, I've been to quite a lot of gyms actually over the years. Never fought from lots of gyms, but I've trained at lots of gyms.
yeah,
And there's some gyms where, and I swear a lot. I'm really bad for
I'm
swearing.
the same.
That's the ex-army in me. I'm very military in the way I teach, and it's who I am. Right, the army is ingrained in my DNA. Some places that's unacceptable. Like
Yeah,
Master Sken has told me off for swearing so much. I can't tell you how many burpees I've done for swearing in his presence, you know? Um, However, at my gym, swearing's allowed. It's actually encouraged a little bit of a motivational thing, we just shout at each other, call each other out, as long as
yeah,
it's motivational and not.
of course, and
Yeah, you're right. Very different dynamics and different
yeah.
things play a part. But I always notice that it boils down to the majority, they have that base level of respect, and that is always required.
Yeah. I agree on the swearing aspect. I'm the same, bro. I'm terrible for it. Like I swear all the time. Oh,
Zach goes, it's a good thing you don't teach the kids, bro. I'm like, yeah, you're right.
bro, honestly, right? My kids' class is from 5 until 6, right? Literally by 3 minutes past 6, I'm calling everybody, telling everybody to fuck off, telling everybody all of these things, and like with the kids, if the kids swear, I make them do 10 push-ups. And like even if they just say shit, it's like 10 push-ups. But then as soon as they walk out, I'm the worst for it. One of them have even got, which just cracked me up from Satari. Satari mouth guards. She's one of the sponsors on FFC. She deals with everybody's mouth guards for us, right? And he's got bitch on the front of his mouth guard. So like he'll go up to one of the boys, tap him on the shoulder, and smile and point at his mouth guard. And he's like, but I'm not saying a word, oh my. And then in my head, I'm like, okay, so that's fair play. You're not saying it, but so I still make him do something for it. But it's just one of
drop me
those.
drop me a shout out to your sponsor and pop it in a message to me because
Yeah,
I need a new mouth guard actually
bro,
because
she is
I
the
had mine
best.
I had it done by I think Dan Gums, I think his
Yeah, yeah,
name
the
is. I
Dan.
had
Yeah,
it done by a guy in Swansea. Nothing
yeah,
wrong with it, just I need a new one. If
yeah. She is the best,
I
man.
if you got
Satari.
a sponsoring you, send them my way because I do
Yeah,
need a new one. My old
yeah,
one's got fucking thingy written on it. So
yeah. I got you, bro. I will. She's
yeah.
the best, man. She actually when she came to the show for FFC2, she set up a stall, and all the fighters that come in, she took every fighter's impression. And yeah, she
That's
does
a
it.
lot of work. That's a lot of work,
Bro,
bro.
she is on point, and not just that. Like you've got Foxy in my gym has got one from her. Ben's just ordered one. Oshan, the boy with a bitch on it, which is great. You've got obviously Buster. Buster's got his through her. You know, there's so many of my guys that have gone through it together, and the ones that she does, they're fucking awesome. And considering it's just a mouthpiece, like Foxy's got Wolverine versus Deadpool, and the detail on it is phenomenal. Even
Mm.
his mom has got a same kind of like comic-y version. Dude, she's fucking class, and I'll drop you. I'll send her info to you. She does
Happy
all of
days.
ours. And she also does stuff for the gyms as well. So if she you know, she can come into the gym and she can, you know, take impressions for everybody in the gym, and everyone can have it like at a discount or whatever.
Oh, good to know. Good to
Yeah,
know.
man,
What was her name again?
her name's Jade, but she's from Satari Mouth Guards. SCUTTARI Mouth Guards. She's on Instagram. She's fucking fire, man. Like, and she does like guys from UFC, Bellator. She does so many. She's class. And not just that as well, bro. She's one of those. She's a proper fan as well. So like when she was at the fight, she was fucking up on the chairs watching the fights and you know, like getting right into it and that's what you want, isn't it? But
Yeah.
what are we gonna do now, Mark? Right? We'll obviously we spoke about some of the fights. We spoke about obviously the new WMO aspect. You know, bringing the WMO in. Now, closing it up for today. Now, is there obviously we just spoke about some of the fights that have come up. Is there anything else that you're looking forward to? You know, specifically for Rhondda Rampage 3. I know we've got, like I said, we've got some Thai fights coming out. We've got 16 fights confirmed so far. We've got two Thai fights coming up. I know I'm keeping everybody at bay with all of the fights. But is there anything else that you know that you're really looking forward to?
Just looking forward to seeing more of Muay Thai in Wales,
Yeah,
to be honest. Obviously, I've been to stand up more before. I fought K1 on there.
yeah,
God knows why I weren't fighting Thai at the time, but listen, these things happen.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, for me, it's more Muay Thai, man. It's more Muay Thai. It's another platform. We don't have much, so it's nice to have another one. It's
yeah,
nice. We've now got, and it's not just another one for Muay Thai. It's the one for
yeah,
Muay Thai. We've got the WMO. You've now got two very clear pathways with fucking one going WBC, the other going WMO. It's so much opportunity going into 2025 for the February show. And honestly, and I'm going to be biased, but I am really excited to see Travis. Um, Obviously, we're friends anyway, and I'm excited to see the work that he's done in the boxing ring. So I'm excited to see him let his hands go and see how that looks. There's obviously some other things I'm excited about, but I can't say too much on here at the minute. Like, obviously, there are some things I'm aware of.
yeah.
So yeah, the K1 stuff, interesting, very good. For me, it's the Muay Thai. I can't wait to see more, and hopefully Sky and Yasmin are back, to be confirmed at a later date, possibly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like the girls, man. I want to see that Sky fight again. Nothing
Yeah.
against Yasmin. I'm a fan of Yasmin, but she got the win and she deserved the win. Good for you. But I feel like I haven't seen all Sky's got to offer. I
That's
want
it.
to see her back in there, and I want to see her get a KO finish. That girl's got power and she's got determination. I know she's got a knockout finish in her, and I want to see it.
That's a Mac matchup call out right there. That is. That's a Mac matchup call out. Now, awesome, bro. I just want to say thank you very much for one, obviously, you know, jumping on board as you did last year and then coming forward into the next year. Like I said, I can't wait to everything we got planned is, you know, is gonna keep taking over and trying to push as much as we can and then not just that as well. But like I said, I want to thank you for joining me for today and, you know, giving everybody else a bit of an insight into what you know what we got planned going forward, and then not just that as well, but giving everybody a bit more of an understanding about the Muay Thai at FFC, and then obviously
Absolutely,
you know
absolutely.
what
Thanks
else
for
we
having me. Obviously,
of course, bro.
it's still early days, but like February is FFC 3. Guys, get involved. Coaches, get your guys in for the Muay Thai. If you've got guys that want to fight Muay Thai, get involved now
Yeah,
before we're fully blown A-class titles. Get involved. Get involved. Get on the NC. If you've got guys fighting pro K1 or K1 with no shin pads, fuck N class off. Get them straight in on the C class. They don't need the shin pads anyway. They've
Yeah.
proven that already. Get them in. Get them working to B class. I want to see by the end of 2025. I want to see a lot of B class. I'm not saying that we may be on A class ready, but I want to see B class now. I want to see some elbows getting thrown. And I think the possibilities are endless now that the WMO are involved. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah, well, that's our plan going forward. Oh, you might see my dog. There he is. I knew. Yeah. So, dude, honestly, like I said, I just want to say thanks again. I can't wait. And guys, tickets are now available. You can get them through Boxed if you just go on to the. You can see his nose. Get down. Get down. Just 2 seconds. You can see. If you go onto the FFC Facebook, you can get to the box link and get your tickets now. £25 on boxed, and then it's a £1.15 admin charge. They're £26 online. But when you do get your tickets online, all fighters still get paid their commission as well. So you choose through. Now, a couple of shout outs for our sponsors as well. I just want to say massive thank you to every one of them for the continued support. Nails by Sancha, Conk's Barbershop. We've got Captured by Jazz. We've brought on a new sponsor, Fighting Homelessness, which is a project that I've been working alongside with Flow and Apollo Sports, alongside Cornelius with Welsh Gladiators, and the stuff that they are doing is inspirational and giving everybody that option. And I'll be honest, man, like they're going to be bringing fighters coming soon. Like having a team that are using combat sports to to revive themselves into this inspirational thing. Like it's fucking awesome to be a part of it, and I love the fact that they're involved in the show now. And you'll get to see them at the event, and potentially when we have our next interclub, they'll be competing on the interclub. But then
Yeah.
again,
I've had conversations with Cornelius about it. Obviously, my life has been a little bit anti-routine recently. I've moved gyms and I've been setting up, and now we're moving gyms again. But as I get my routine back in place and I'm back in camp, I'm hoping to actually get involved with the Fighting with Homelessness as well, to deliver some clinch and some elbows and some other more aspects. I know Cornelius does a lot of kickboxing and boxing with them.
Yeah.
I've talked to Cornelius, and I will hopefully be getting involved with that soon as well. Be able to give more of an insight into the Muay Thai world for them as well.
Yeah, like I said, such an awesome platform to be involved. I've been involved myself, and it's awesome. But just another couple of other sponsors as well. Like I said, about tickets are available on Boxed, and there's something that we'll be doing through Boxed for Fight of the Night. You'll actually get a Fight of the Night reward. Fight of the Night reward and an award through Box. So like I said, guys, it's turning up and going for it, because Fight of the Night, again, you'll get something in return from us. And then my two other ones, we've got Forbidden Supplements, best pre-workout possible. They're on board again, and they continue with support. And then the last one is, I want to say thank you to Liam Wilson, who does all of our posters, the poster behind me, all of the matchup posters, all of the stuff, that all of our graphic work comes from Liam. And again, continuous support. He's great when it comes to anything graphics. Just give him a shout on Facebook. And then the last one is Flow Fight Club is brought to you by Flow Fightwear, and all of the fighters. If you need any custom wear, any custom gear as well, please contact us on Facebook, and we'll sort you out.
Have I seen Flow Fightwear on fucking One Championship?
You have.
Is Nathan Benden repping?
Nathan Benden.
Let's go.
Yeah.
I'm such a Nathan Benden fan, by the way.
Same.
I've watched all of his seminars. I've watched them all on YouTube. I'm a big Nathan Benden fan. The way he blocks is the way I teach to block. I love Nathan Benden. I'm absolutely buzzing you've got him on board with you. So
I appreciate that. Thanks very much.
Hopefully, now that you guys are, maybe we can get him into Wales and have a little bit of seminars or something going on, because
I got some ideas, man. We Flow Fightwear works alongside Dominate Academy as well, so we're working through for the gym as well. So I got some stuff up my sleeve, brother. I got some stuff up.
2025, bro.
2025, man. Awesome. Guys, just want to say thanks, Macauley, once more. Thanks very much, but I really appreciate you coming on today, and it was fucking insightful, and it's great as well. And as we said, any nutritionist, please respond to us, and let us know what. Give us a bit of an education on anything that you can. And thanks very much.
Pros, cons, and the danger aspects of doing a weight cut.
Yeah, that'd be perfect. And then that could be the next conversation that me and Mark have. We can, we can go through
Absolutely.
that and we'll go through it. But I just want to say once more, Mark, thanks very much, brother. And thanks
Thanks,
everybody.
brother.
Thanks very much.